It started off in the Awakening Plaza on the day of awakening that Lin Han have been waiting for years with much excitement. In this world, the powers which once used to be in games became mixed with reality, and people started receiving their skills and abilities when they turned 18. They were given different jobs from categories like attack, support, and life. Those with life class skills were considered as ordinary people. The support class jobs in this world require a huge amount of resources when they start out, which makes it extremely difficult for them to get stronger unless they manage to receive support from a powerful family. There were some people who didn't like their jobs, since they would be interested in living a normal life with life class jobs, but end up receiving attack class jobs. For Lin Han, becoming a warrior, an attack class job has always been his dream job and the path he wanted to walk on. This world was filled with countless dungeons, forbidden zones, hidden realms, and monsters around those places, and the only way Lin Han could grow stronger was by awakening as a warrior and defeating monsters. He believed he was the man designed to become the strongest of all. Then his best friend Wang Qiang poked his shoulder to tell Lin Han it was already his turn to head to the stage instead of zoning out, while their teacher was glaring at him to hurry up. Lin Han was startled, whereas the homeroom teacher Yang Sui scolded him to stop daydreaming and rush over for the awakening ceremony. Lin Han ran towards the altar while his friend told him to make sure to go monster hunting together. Lin Han stepped up the altar and the mage asked him to step into the circle and don't resist whatever happens. Mage was sure Lin Han was born to be a warrior since the skills of a person were affected by their natural abilities and their will. Lin Han had always been a guy with determination, so he had already been working out a lot to become a warrior. As he stepped on the altar, suddenly a large pillar of blue and green light formed around him, which was different from others and also contained a monstrous amount of mana. People wondered what amazing ability was this guy going to awaken now, and some students even thought that he might receive a hidden class. It was then the teacher confirmed it was definitely a hidden class by the level of mana, and the symbol of it was the occurrence of natural phenomenon. Everyone was more sure the guy was destined to rise to the top, and right then the window of Lin Han's job appeared before him. It was the hidden class job of a life cleric, and just the plain life class title heavily disappointed Lin Han, as it means he would only be a support healer from now on. Lin Han was silent and had no words to speak. Then the mage who conducted the awakening muttered it was too bad he got that life class. Wang Qiang asked the Sir Mage why did he call it bad, especially after that awakening even caused a natural phenomenon right before their eyes. The mage explained that cleric was basically a support role for anyone, and no matter how strong magic they chant as support, they would always remain just a support. And more importantly, it was extremely difficult for clerics to level up, as the requirements for them to level up were unique magic cores found at the times of natural phenomenons. So it was why no cleric in history ever made it past level 10, and thus it was called the most useless occupation ever. Wang Qiang was indefinitely shocked because according to Lin Han being a hidden class, he should be on the same level as forbidden spells. The teacher went to comfort Lin Han by saying he should at least be happy to receive a hidden class job, but inside she was even worried if Lin Han would have to live his whole life without making a name for himself. Later that evening, Lin Han walked back while looking at his stats, among which there were 3 stats of power, strength, and durability over 100. They would have been really awesome if he had awoken as a warrior, but for now there was not much he could do. He proceeded to check his skills that came with his job and saw there were unique skills indeed, but from one glance he could tell none of them were very effective. Lin Han pitied himself and thought it would have been much better to awake a life class rather than cleric, because it was never going to ascend beyond level 10 due to such difficult requirements. It was then he received a notification, informing him of a new system, Myriad Augmentation. Lin Han thought he finally got a cheat system for himself, and it allowed him to augment anything related to his stats by 10,000 only once, while he could also augment any item of his wish for an unlimited amount of times. Lin Han simply asked the system to augment all of his stats, after which the system actually multiplied his stats by 10,000, resulting in all the stats crossing crazy numbers. It was not only his stats that were augmented, but also the skills that came along with his cleric job. All of his skills became so overpowered that they reached the level of being forbidden spells like Resurrection of an Undead Army, Depravity that applies 2 debuffs to the enemy, Chaos Domain that summons forbidden class magic attacks randomly. Suddenly, Lin Han's friend Wang Qiang caught up to him and said he had been looking for him for a while, since Lin Han just left after the awakening. He told Lin Han there would be an academy recruitment exam in 7 days, so he wanted Lin Han to join him in hunting monsters in the dungeon to level up together and get into an academy. It was then a guy called them to stop spouting nonsense. This guy was Gao Chong, and he had a bastard-like attitude that goes well with his face. He stated Lin Han would barely manage to get into an academy, and even if he does, all he could do there were odd jobs. Wang Qiang exclaimed he can't go around running his mouth just because he got an attack class job of assassin. Gao Chong was the kind to dislike Lin Han, so he mocked him results were not everything and bottom feeders like him were not destined to be strongest but useless. Lin Han simply ignored and asked Gao Chong to step aside. Gao Chong shouted how could he still have that pretentious attitude when he should drop it now that he wasn't the genius of their school anymore, especially when his occupation was so trashy that he could one-punch him any moment. But to Gao Chong's surprise, Lin Han landed a punch instead and sent him flying towards a wall and hit it with a strong impact. Gao Chong witnessed Lin Han's cold stare as he asked him to repeat what he said again. Gao Chong's friends rushed to ask him if he was okay. Lin Han stood on his place with his fists running against each other. Gao Chong declared it was just a fluke and Lin Han won't be so lucky after he crosses level 10 in just a few days. He threatened to make Lin Han regret ever being born and going against him. Lin Han cracked fingers, which was enough to scare the hell out of those guys, and they ran away, with Gao Chong telling him to just wait for his time. Wang Qiang was sure Lin Han was someone capable of being someone amazing. Lin Han said they should just head home for now, ignoring his praises. On the way back, Lin Han had to cross through broken roads, and he wondered when the government would fix these roads already. When he reached home, Lin Han was confused about how he would tell his parents about his job. They would surely be disappointed, but he still walked in with weak steps. When he entered home, he smelled something great and asked if they were having a feast. His father and mother were there, and they mentioned they came home early since it was his job awakening and wanted to celebrate it with him. Mother asked him to wash his hands before eating, and later at night over dinner, his father rejoiced at the happy occasion of their child turning into an adult. Lin Han was about to tell him about his job awakening, but they already heard of it from the teacher. They assured him even if he didn't become the warrior class, it wasn't the end of the world and there was still a lot he could do. They cheered up their son with a toast, and Lin Han promised he won't give up. After the dinner, Lin Han asked Mother if she needed help. She ensured it was fine and he should go and watch some TV. When he went to the living room, his father surprised him with a gift box that looked centuries old. Lin Han asked what it was, to which his father replied it was a present for him, and this box contained treasures that had been passed down in their family from generations. Mother described how his father looks now. His family used to be quite prestigious. Lin Han doubted it, then his father scolded him, calling him a brat and saying even though they might be poor now, their family used to be pretty influential in the past. Father told him to take this treasure when he goes to training tomorrow. Late night, Lin Han opened the box and found a set of gold tier mage equipment of a staff and a robe in it, which would have usually cost at least $1 million, and cherry on top, it contained both offensive and defensive abilities. Lin Han didn't waste any time and used his augmentation ability on the items. Once augmentation was completed by 10,000 times, the items became legend tier items worth billions, and Lin Han was now equipped with perfect items for his dungeon adventures. He was aware that he lucked out big time, and now since his stats were already overpowered, Lin Han knew he would be known as a close combat healer from now on. Lin Han now planned his leveling up progress, and he wanted to break through the first cycle and reach level 10, then grow even further. For that, he needed to absorb primordial elements, for which he would have to enter places with natural disasters or catastrophe. He read online forums and found that the kingdom of Haizi was made up of a long coastline and lots of volcanoes and islands. And incidentally, the coastline was full of monsters and hurricanes, along with strong winds plaguing the whole water's surface, causing disasters oftentimes. Lin Han received a message from Wang Qiang, asking him to come to level up together in the dungeon, but Lin Han denied and said it would be faster if they level up by solo instead. Wang Qiang thought Lin Han didn't want to trouble him, and they ended up promising to head out for leveling up together after they reached level 10. Although the real reason for Lin Han to refuse was because Wang Qiang would be in danger in the area he was planning to go. Now he went to sleep, and next morning Lin Han straight up headed to the transfer square where he took a ticket to teleport to the kingdom of Haizi. After confirming his identity, the transfer square sent him through a portal which teleported Lin Han right in the kingdom of Haizi. Lin Han saw the warning signs right after entering, and he could see with his own eyes that this place would be full of dangers from the get-go, as a ferocious monster attacked him right away. The monster attacked Lin Han with ice spears, and just before they were about to hit him, Lin Han was protected by the magic shield ability of his sage robe, which activated just in time. The monster didn't seem happy and screeched out loud, leaving tremors in the whole area. Lin Han was overwhelmed a little and felt like his head was going to explode. He received an alert from the system, telling him that his shield could only block physical and magical attacks, but it couldn't block psychic attacks. Lin Han didn't like to be looked down like that, so he started casting one of his forbidden spells, the Chaos Domain, and suddenly the whole sky was colored red, as a large meteor appeared and was falling from the sky. The meteor struck down the exact spot where the monster that attacked Lin Han was standing, while causing an insanely dangerous impact on a city scale. Meanwhile, in the headquarters of a place that kept check on readings on magical waves of every place, they received alerts of significant rise in value of magical waves in the Hunyu city of Haizi Kingdom. The supervisor was surprised, and they began to wonder if it was an enemy strike. That city where the magical waves rose was in the middle of the coastal line of defense, so the boss was sure if it were an enemy, it would have been found out long ago. He went to the monitoring room and checked the screen showing that place. The man asked the monitoring people to check if there was any powerful human among their people, capable of controlling forbidden spells at will. The supervisor then called his boss and informed him that the whole city of Haiyu must enter a defensive state right away, and they should locate the source of the magic source that caused this danger immediately before their next move. Meanwhile, around the other cities along the coastline, the water levels were rising continuously to dangerous levels, and this caused the authorities to announce the alert to all the citizens and request them to evacuate from their homes and head to the central shelter right away. The evacuation was being carried out before this catastrophe reached the mainland, and people were constantly running around. Then a huge shield of magic appeared and blocked the water from entering any further into the city. The defensive line soldiers asked if the shield was working properly, and the soldiers reported higher-ups that they successfully defended the first wave. The second squad of defense lines was also stationed and waiting for further orders. At the same time, our guy Lin Han was happily looking over the gracious rewards he collected from killing monsters in this area, and even though he worked quite much, he finally gained experience points enough to reach level 10, and also a pack of assuring items. The system congratulated him and asked him if he would like to proceed to enhance these items by 10,000. Lin Han was enchanted to hear that, and he started off with enhancing a skill book he received from recent rewards. The skill book of Chanting Boost was immediately upgraded to a level of Forbidden Spell, and it allowed Lin Han to be able to cast any verbal chant requiring magic instantly. Lin Han was feeling quite cool to have the ability to kill monsters silently. Then he sensed the situation in this area was getting wild due to volcanoes being disturbed as an after effect of using his forbidden spells. Lin Han followed the map to find the source of the catastrophe's primordial energy, and on the way he saw many monsters that seemed to have already been turned to ashes. Finally, he managed to find the fire element among the volcanoes and put it into his inventory. Lin Han never imagined it would be this easy to get the fire element, and now he figured he should keep this up and collect the wind element as well. Lin Han followed the map and arrived in the disturbed water bodies, where he suspected the wind element to exist. Lin Han crossed through these catastrophic waters by riding on his sage's staff, and he managed to finally find the wind element. Once Lin Han's work in the kingdom of Haizi was done, he was very happy with collecting not only 2 elemental sources, but also countless equipment and materials. He was sure to make good profits by selling them, and now he headed home with flying on his staff. However, when he arrived at the transfer square of the city, he saw numerous alerts for citizens about the city entering level 1 state of emergency, until which all the teleportation devices would be switched off. People were advised to head to the shelters in the meantime, and Lin Han saw people running around in fear. He tried asking someone what was happening, then one of the workers told him this place was closed. Lin Han questioned how the worker told him about the mysterious force that caused the catastrophe, and now he should follow her to the shelter. Lin Han realized this mysterious force was actually the forbidden spell he just used, and it was all his fault for underestimating the power of this forbidden spell. And now, the tsunami triggered by him has almost destroyed a whole city. He wanted to take responsibility, so Lin Han rushed out on his own to the Huming city, which was currently facing the tsunami. The magic soldiers have been constantly pouring their magic power to keep the wall of life active. Although the soldiers were having a tough time and had almost reached their limits, they had about 5 more minutes until the next tsunami, hearing which, the commander sent the command to summon any level 30 or above individuals to defend the wall of life and request for help even from surrounding cities. This was a battle that they couldn't retreat from because the city was at stake. The soldiers soon started reporting multiple cracks forming in the wall of life, and now that it had come to this, the commander had to use their last resort. He commanded everyone to use every ounce of their magic to flip the edges of the wall and try pushing back the tsunami itself with everything they've got. The shape of the wall of life started changing, and the soldiers were starting to fall one by one due to lack of magic. The commander feared if the city of Humming would really be destroyed today. Then from somewhere nearby, Lin Han casted the blessing of a single magic spell upon the soldiers, which filled them all with enough energy to keep going. They quickly started focusing their magic on repairing the wall and trapped back tsunami, and soon the soldiers reported back that they successfully controlled the tsunami. The commander initiated the command to quickly use the teleportation device to send off tsunamis somewhere far away, and once the sea levels slowly dropped down with this process, they successfully took care of the tsunamis. The soldiers and their commander were thrilled upon this success, and the person who was the reason for how they did it, Lin Han, was glad that even though it was close, he saved the city from being destroyed by the spell he used. His phone rang and Lin Han picked up, only to find it was worried mom, asking him if he was okay because the city was hit by tsunami and he wasn't answering calls either. Lin Han assured her he was fine and stayed in the shelter within the right time, and now the crisis was resolved as well. After telling her he would be back soon, Lin Han flew back home with a plan in mind for tomorrow to get a class upgrade quest, sell the materials, and improve parents' life with that money. Later on, he went to the class advancement hall to receive his second advancement quest. He was asked to fill out the form, and after handing over the form, he was given the details document to verify if everything was right about the quest. Lin Han saw the quest, and it mentioned that he would be taken in as healer. Lin Han disliked it. Then the receptionist told him there were two ways to receive quests. One was to get one from her analysis, or get any random quest assigned to him by the system with random quest grades. Lin Han chose to go with a random quest, for which she asked him to place his hand on the crystal ball and infuse it with some magic. She thought he might be just another person hoping to get some low-level quest based on luck, but when the system assigned the quest to him, she was shocked to see the quest grade was S rank, with the task to head to the underground dungeon and hunt the Abyss Apostle to obtain the Abyss Heart. Lin Han simply accepted the quest, and receptionist strongly advised Hai to reconsider because choosing an S rank quest was practically a suicide for a healer class person. Lin Han still repeated he was fine with this quest, and it got assigned to him officially. The details of the S rank quest was then shown on the display pillar, and everyone who was present in the hall could read it, and were shocked to witness a person was daring to go on such a dangerous quest. The receptionist wished him best of luck for the quest. Then three guys called out Lin Han as a red-haired guy, and mentioned having read about him receiving an S-grade quest. The man promised Lin Han they would help him complete this quest if he takes them along, and they looked quite strong to make a claim like that. However, these guys seemed shady, so Lin Han turned down their offer and preferred to go solo. The bald guy didn't like this reply and ran to punch Lin Han, but Lin Han kicked him in the face first instead, flying him off to the back wall. Everyone who witnessed Lin Han were surprised, and they found it hard to believe he was a healer. The bald man's pride was hurt after being knocked down by a healer, but even though his men suggested they should fight back, the bald boss of theirs hit him, saying they can't fight in public. However, he sure won't let go of Lin Han just like that in the future. Lin Han then went to the trading market, and he told the employee that he wanted to sell some equipment. She guided him to a room and asked what he would like to sell, in response to which Lin Han took out all the materials and equipment from inventory to the table. All of them were shining brightly, and just by sight she knew they were all good quality. She quickly went to get their manager right away, and soon the manager came and introduced himself to Lin Han as Liu, a level 46 appraisal master. Lin Han was amazed to see a high-level 46 person here in the trading market, which means this place was truly one of the most powerful guilds today. Liu used his appraisal, and he instantly determined the value of all the materials brought by Lin Han to be around 23 million. Lin Han considered it a fair price. Then he proceeded to bring out two more swords, which were clearly way higher quality than others, asking what price they would sell for. Liu examined those times by chanting his appraisal skills onto the items, and once he was done appraising them, Liu informed Lin that these items were undoubtedly of legend grade, and he would offer 140 million for them as a set. Lin Han closed the deal, and manager Liu saw potential in him, as he gave Lin Han a VIP black card and guaranteed him that he would receive best service from their guild as a VIP from today onwards. Lin Han thanked him and mentioned he would like to buy some skill books from them. Liu happily granted him those books, and while he was walking back, Lin Han used his augmentation ability to multiply the skill of those books by 10,000, resulting them to become a forbidden grade curse, allowing him to have a godlike perspective of his surroundings and be alerted before any danger. Lin Han was ensured that no danger could approach him, so he embarked on dungeon quests. He dropped by the Dungeon Information Guild and bought some information on the nearby Abyss Apostles from them. After Lin Han gained this information, he noticed something was off around here, so he decided to quickly get done with the Abyss Apostles and head back. His intuitions were right, as that bald guy from before seemed to be stalking him from the back of the wall. Lin Han traveled to the place on a map, which was supposed to be the spawning point of Abyss Apostles. As he walked further, Lin Han encountered an Abyss Apostle for real, and was as ferocious as it was ranked according to his S-rank quest. Lin Han decided to check a simple lightning spell, so he attacked the Abyss Apostle with thunder and waited to see if it was already over. However, the Abyss Apostle targeted him again, and Lin Han seemed like he couldn't dodge the attack, but actually he intentionally took the hit and went sliding back without falling. Lin Han wanted to measure the strength of this Abyss Apostle, as one hit from it lost him 1,800 health points, while the Ice Frog from before cost only 800 health points. It was then he heard the bald guy's voice mocking him for being so overconfident in front of the Abyss Apostle. Lin Han didn't like meeting this bald guy from Three Snakes Mercenary Guild, while the guy kept calling him too arrogant for being a support class. The bald man even stalked Lin Han to the point he knew that Lin Han had over 10 millions, so he wanted to rob them as well. Lin Han told him he shouldn't have dared to confront him unless he wanted to die. The bald man kept spouting confident nonsense, while an Abyss Apostle was about to attack him from behind. The bald guy then crushed the Abyss Apostle like nothing and revealed that he was a second-tier expert, so dealing with a monster like these baby Abyss Apostles was a piece of cake for him. Now he pointed his short sword at Lin Han and said even if he were to kill Lin Han here, no one else would ever know the cause. Lin Han secretly casted one of his forbidden spells, which allowed him to manipulate the other two guys from the bald guy's team. They became bloodthirsty and started swinging their swords at him. The bald man shouted at them to stop joking around, and if they were being like this because of wages, he would increase the money. But they didn't care about anything other than killing, while the bald guy offered them more money again. He then warned them they were asking for deaths now, and a fight among them began. However, the bald guy couldn't fight them off alone, and they bit his arms and took a chunk off them. Lin Han asked that bald guy if he still didn't get it, heading which the bald man questioned Lin Han if he did something to these guys. Lin Han called him a fool for not knowing even now that those guys were under his control. The bald guy found it impossible to believe, because Lin Han was just a level 10 supporter, so how could he cast strong spells? Lin Han told that guy to not think that a support couldn't cast defensive spells, and to prove that, he bid farewell to the bald man by casting another forbidden spell, the Chaos Domain. The bald guy was terrified by the insane magical power coming from Lin Han, as he destroyed everything in this dungeon. Lin Han calmly exited the dungeon and suddenly, the whole dungeon collapsed, which was much more damage than Lin Han expected. He wondered if that dungeon was made of tofu or something to be broken that easily. Meanwhile, at the Lunar Magic Detection Division, the magic levels monitoring workers found another shot in magic power levels. Their boss came running and asking what was it now. The guy reported there was a terrifying energy fluctuation coming from the underground dungeon, and they suspect it was another forbidden curse. The boss was pissed off and he questioned just what was this person causing these disasters doing and what was he planning to do. Workers asked him what they should do now, to which he asked them to call the mayor immediately. The boss reported to the mayor that the underground dungeon would collapse at any moment now, so for the safety of professionals, they needed to evacuate everyone immediately. The mayor quickly took action and authorized the boss of the detection company, Sun Hu, to organize a rescue team and take action as soon as possible. Sun Hu asked the mayor it won't be that easy to find the culprit since many students have awakened in the last awakening ceremony. The mayor put that task to later and asked him to focus on this rescue mission. He entrusted the future of their city to Sun Hu, after which Sun Hu announced everyone to gather around and head to the dungeon right away, not leaving a single man behind. Meanwhile, the dungeon was collapsing at every passing second and people were being rescued by the monitor team. Lin Han felt extremely guilty for those who got hurt because of him, so he casted Forbidden Spell, Guardian Angel, that could revive any living creature that died within a short time. Lin Han's magic revived the people who died from the destruction. Among these people, Sun Hu was also helping his team in saving people, and once the situation started to calm down, one of the people who were revived mentioned having seen a beautiful angel. Sun Hu, on the other hand, wanted to find this supreme sovereign-level person and make them regret their actions. At the same time, Lin Han passed by his side and sneaked out, wishing not to be found. After successfully sneaking out, he quickly went to the Profession Change Center, and he hurriedly took the hand of the girl receptionist from before and asked if they should begin right away. She was startled and thought he was asking her out, and Lin Han corrected her that he was just talking about changing his profession, since he collected his mission and collected the core of the Abyss Apostle. She was extremely shocked to hear he completed that such rank mission so quickly, and the news didn't take long to surprise other people as well. They thought if this guy really did it by himself, then either he was a monster or some secret expert cultivated by some incredibly powerful family. Lin Han smiled and claimed it was just luck, as he happened to arrive when two experts were fighting nearby. He was doing his best to avoid getting attention right now, while everyone else was jealous of him and some wanted to join his group. Now Lin Han asked the receptionist to get started with a job change, and they went through the process. After that, Lin Han felt there was a vast difference between second and first tier profession, and the system even gave him another 10,000 augmentation on his skills and stats, also giving him 2 new skills, Blessing of Light that reduces damage taken by him and allies, and Shadow Concealment to hide any traces of him. Lin Han figured these were just the perfect defense and escape skills he needed, and when he exited the advancement hall, he saw some people running around with confusion. Lin Han asked one of them what was this commotion about, to which he replied that Minister Sun Hu suspected there's a supreme sovereign nearby and he sensed that person's aura and was now looking for him. Lin Han was feeling relieved as he changed professions just in time so he couldn't be perceived after changes. It was then he saw the news of Minister Sun Hu telling everyone that the dungeon would stay closed for maintenance, and in the meantime, nobody was allowed to leave the city for safety reasons. Lin Han was taken aback by that announcement, since he wouldn't be able to buy any materials within time. Now, since he can't go out of town, he decided to try his luck with Manager Liu. Manager Liu greeted Lin Han with a smile and mentioned not expecting to see him so soon. Lin Han took a seat and got some tea served to him. Liu showed him the list of products and told him he was free to pick anything he liked, and he would also get a 10% discount on everything. Lin Han bought 20 magic scrolls and asked Liu that he wanted some information from him. Liu assured he could provide reliable information, after which Lin Han mentioned he wanted to know the source of calamity. Liu hesitated upon hearing that, and when Lin Han pressed if he knew something or not, Liu expressed it was very rare to find sources of calamity, so the information won't come that cheap. Lin Han offered an epic-level piece of equipment in exchange for the information, and Liu instantly changed his face to a smile and informed Lin Han that he might find some information on the source of calamity in the auction coming in some time. Lin Han figured since it would take some time, he should level up in the meantime. Lin Han then pressed Liu that he paid with an epic-grade equipment, so he should get something more than just some information that would be leaked later on anyway. Liu got the hint and offered his trusted customer Lin Han something else. He had the assistant bring an item, and when revealing what was under the cloth, Lin Han saw a shining gold light coming from it, which means the item must be rare. Liu agreed he was right and said this item was a legendary teleportation device to a Silver Dungeon's leveling hotspot, and the user of this device could take one more person with them and level up rapidly. Lin Han was amazed by this offer, because one can't buy access to Silver Dungeons just with money. Liu asked if he was satisfied with their service, to which Lin Han responded he was more than satisfied and accepted the device. After he exited the trading guild, Lin Han waved bye to them, and then the assistant of Manager Liu asked him if he was sure it was a good idea to give that rare teleportation device to Lin Han. Liu asked her how it could be a loss for them, since he already sensed how powerful Lin Han had gotten just after the last time they met. Liu figured Lin Han had a great deal of potential and wanted to stay invested with him early on. Meanwhile, Lin Han was wondering who he should bring along with him into the Silver Dungeon. Just when he was thinking about one person for it, Wang Qiang, his friend, called him at just the right time. Lin Han asked him how come a busy person got time to call him, and Wang Qiang said he wanted to team up and hunt monsters with Lin Han before, but unfortunately, the city got locked down, so he just called to complain to him while eating out of frustration. Lin Han told him to forget about leveling him up and set out straight that he got a big project, the Silver Dungeon's teleportation device. Wang Qiang was extremely shocked to hear Lin Han got a teleportation device, and it made him wonder if Lin Han was being sponsored by some rich lady. Lin Han told him to cut the nonsense and answer if he'll come or not. Wang Qiang agreed to it right away and asked when and where to come. Lin Han told him to come at 9 a.m. tomorrow at the entrance to the Silver Dungeon. Next day, Wang Qiang arrived at the entrance in time and waited for Lin Han to come. Soon, Lin Han came and praised him for coming on time, but Wang Qiang pointed out he came here wishing to meet the rich young lady, but unfortunately he didn't see any here. Lin Han asked him to just word it out if he wanted to die by his hand. The two were having a happy reunion until some hateful guys pointed out who they met there. They were students who used to be in the same school as Lin Han, and they mockingly asked what the top school students were doing here. Those guys started making fun of what a healer like Lin Han was doing here at the silver-level dungeon. Wang Qiang got mad and wanted to take it out at them, but Lin Han stopped him while they kept badmouthing them. Wang Qiang told Lin Han to let go of him as he wanted to duel those guys, but Lin Han didn't want him to get involved with trash guys. Those guys warned him not to speak lightly as they were at their second advancements. Then Lin Han pointed out why he would be scared of some pawns of another guy. They asked what he meant by that, with sweat breaking down on their face. Lin Han asked someone why he wasn't coming out, and just as he expected, the guy behind those goons showed himself. It was none other than Gao Chong, and Wang Qiang hadn't seen him for many days. Gao Chong warned them not to speak directly to him. As for weak people, talking to him was like asking for death. Wang Qiang wanted to fight off right here, but Lin Han stopped him and said he'd handle it himself. It was then one of Gao Chong's lackeys attacked him, but Lin Han effortlessly throwed off his sword with his bare hands and grabbed his collar and throwed him like a bull straight at others. Those guys were scared as they saw the scene, and found it hard to believe that Lin Han didn't use any skills but his pure raw strength. Next up, Lin Han charged at Gao Chong, and he immediately tried to surrender, but Lin Han didn't stop until he tied him to a rock and admitted he was in the wrong. Wang Qiang said it would be better to let him be there until he truly realizes his mistake. Gao Chang hated both Lin Han and Wang Qiang even more after this because he became an example for others to not mess with Lin Han. Now Lin Han used the teleportation device to take him and Wang Qiang straight to the rapid level up zone of the Silver Dungeon, and here there were many undead skeletons around the place. Suddenly, a skeleton hand emerged from the ground and caught Wang Qiang's leg. Wang Qiang asked Lin Han to stay close while he would keep them safe with his card master skill. Wang Qiang took care of the undead skeletons one by one with the power of his cards, but when he saw Lin Han, he had already taken care of a mountain of those skeletons by himself with fists. Wang Qiang pointed out he couldn't just solve everything with fists, it was unfair, to which Lin Han replied it was fair because he was born with this power. He stated if only he wasn't afraid of being found by the government, he could clear this place with a single forbidden spell. Wang Qiang sighed as he knew Lin Han could clear the dungeon with a hammer and just physical strength as well. Lin Han assured him there was no need to be disheartened and it should speed up his leveling now. Wang Qiang got cheered up and casted thunder magic cards to wipe out the skeletons in the front. He was finding this easy for some reason with Lin Han being around, then suddenly, Lin Han sensed something and carried Wang Qiang without any explanation to somewhere. At the place he went to, there was a menace of a monster causing destruction in the area. Wang Qiang saw the monster's axe and understood immediately that Lin Han was truly a genius to spot hidden boss. Lin Han told Wang Qiang to be careful, as he wasn't an ordinary boss. Wang Qiang kept his distance, but then to his surprise, Lin Han started running towards the monster and clashed against it with his staff, keeping the Minotaur's axe blocked. Lin Han urged Wang Qiang to quickly attack it with his spells. Wang Qiang followed up with thunder cards and charged the magic attack at the Minotaur. Wang Qiang asked Lin Han to quickly retreat and cast a long-range attack, but Lin Han jumped right in to hit the Minotaur with his staff imbued with impact magic. Lin Han finished off the Minotaur with a staff hit straight to the head. He stood victorious over the battle, and Wang Qiang was still not used to seeing a support character basically soloing a hidden boss, making Lin Han greater in his perspective. On the outside of the dungeon, an announcement was shown to everyone that the hidden boss was defeated by a party of 2, with Lin Han and Wang Qiang in it in under 16 minutes. Everyone, especially Gao Chang, was shocked by this achievement and found it impossible for them to have completed it for real. Eventually, the day for university exams arrived, and there were many people present here. Lin Han was then greeted by the shady Gao Chang, mocking him as a pretense top student finally arriving. This time, he wanted to see how Lin Han would cheat like before. Wang Qiang reminded Gao Chang if he wanted to be tied to a rock again after hearing which Gao Chang claimed last time they got him by accident, but today he would show them for real. Wang Qiang knew he might be weaker than Gao Chang, but as for Lin Han, Gao Chang was underestimating him way too much. Once everyone was gathered, bell rang to announce the beginning of entrance exams, and everyone was asked to showcase their strength on the stage without using any kind of cheating. The competition began with that, and Wang Qiang and Lin Han cheered each other to make sure to go through their matches. The very first match of the competition started off with Lin Han going up against Gao Chang. When they took their spots on the stage, Gao Chang told the referee that Lin Han cheated in the dungeon runs, so he requested Lin Han to be disqualified for cheating. The referee exclaimed nobody could dare to cheat in her presence, so she asked him to stop utter nonsense. Gao Chang then asked her to wait and questioned Lin Han in front of everyone else about how he broke dungeon records. Lin Han didn't seem all that interested to respond, so Gao Chang made a bet that if Lin Han loses here, he would be deemed as a liar and couldn't take university exams for the next 5 years, saying one for himself. Lin Han didn't like how nosy Gao Chang always behaves, so he accepted this bet to teach him a lesson. Gao Chang claimed his skills have improved significantly since the last time they met, so he proceeded to show off his talent, and the spectating students were sure that an assassin of second stage would be impressive and tough to defeat. Gao Chang was fully confident that Lin Han can't even see him, so being hit wasn't even an option as long as he kept moving rapidly. However, Lin Han could see through all the movements of Gao Chang, without even using any skills. Gao Chang thought it was a bluff and charged to attack Lin Han, but his balance was thrown off guard when Lin Han dodged his attack for real. He thought it was a coincidence and attacked repeatedly, while Lin Han kept dodging all of it effortlessly. Meanwhile, spectators were having a hard time keeping up with the movements of those two, among which an old man who seemed to be an influential person thought such powerful physical attributes were wasted on a support character. Gao Chang got tired of attacking and none of his attacks landed. Lin Han stated what Gao Chang calls high speed. It was equal to just a turtle crawling in his eyes. Wang Qiang was getting excited as he saw the battle happening the way he expected, whereas Gao Chang was frustrated and questioned the referee to quickly check Lin Han, as he was definitely cheating. The referee had enough with Gao Chong and yelled again that nobody could cheat under her watchful eyes, so if he was done, he should admit defeat instead of running his mouth. Gao Chong refused to give up here and jumped at Lin Han to strike again with his strongest move this time. Lin Han charged magical energy in his fist to counter, but right then, the referee intervened and stopped him right there. Gao Chong got mad and questioned her why she came in his way, to which she replied if she hadn't taken the initiative to stop this fight, Lin Han would have overpowered him and pierced his heart by now. Gao Chong felt the pressure in her words, making it clear she was serious, so he dropped down on knees admitting defeat, and she declared Lin Han as the winner of this battle. However, Gao Chong was persistent and he still attacked Lin Han out of frustration, refusing to give up here. Lin Han put a stop to him by punching Gao Chong and slamming him into the ground, shattering the floor in the process. Lin Han made it clear he spared him before, yet he still picked a fight with him. The referee was impressed by Lin Han's strength and asked if he was really a support character. Lin Han confirmed it, then poked Gao Chong with his feet, telling him to get up and stop this act of being unconscious. Gao Chong was then carried to the medical ward and he left the warning that he'll definitely defeat Gao Chong in the future. Lin Han was then praised by Wang Qiang, who was happy and proud of him as he patted his back hard. Lin Han scolded him for hurted and Qiang apologized for it. After that, the referee announced the next match would be a battle royale between 4 people, which included Wang Qiang as well. Lin Han didn't expect matches to be held in this format as well, and he wished Wang Qiang not to mess up out there. Wang Qiang assured him to sit here and watch him win, after which he proceeded on to the stage to get started with his battle through the card abilities. One of the competitors didn't expect to be against a level 10 card master, and he proposed others to join up to eliminate the strongest one first. Others stated their jobs, with one pink-head girl claiming to be a support healer, and she was fine with being on either side. The black-haired guy listened and attacked the healer without any warning to eliminate her right away. After hurting her, he figured she won't be able to stand on Wang Qiang's side now, and asked the other girl to Jiami which side she'll pick. Jiami joined his side, after which the guy was about to target Wang Qiang, but then a card came flying by his side and swung around the pink-head girl. The guy dodged it and asked why Wang Qiang was protecting that girl, to which he replied that he just found it so despicable that she got attacked by that guy only so she wouldn't stand by his side. The guy rushed in with his claws to attack Wang Qiang the same way, but Wang Qiang was confident he could handle him. In the meantime, the black-haired girl started casting her hypnotic spell, and it made Wang Qiang feel like he didn't have any energy. The guy with the claws got close to him, but just within time, a card protected Wang Qiang by deflecting the claws. Wang Qiang regained his normal strength and explained that his cards weren't just for attacks, but to defend as well. The blonde old man from the back was liking the way Wang Qiang used his cards to counterattack, and the other old man beside him figured this time around there were surely quite a few promising talents this year. Now Wang Qiang used the power of earth, water, fire, wind, and light magic and cards to finish the fight, while the hypnotist casted another illusion magic. Wang Qiang missed the targets, leaving him bewildered, and that made the guy with claws more confident over his winning chances. However, Wang Qiang just closed his eyes and decided to attack them by sensing their magic power. He managed to attack them at the right spots this time and took out the hypnotist in one shot. Now only the guy with claws was left, and as the next attack approached from the guy, Wang Qiang used his cards defensively again to block the claws. Meanwhile, the voice of the healer came asking if they had already forgotten about her as she started casting healing magic to recover Wang Qiang's stamina. Wang Qiang was feeling good as new now, and the guy with claws was left astonished. Wang Qiang attacked the guy with 5 cards at the same time, and it caused an explosion on the man, resulting in him being roasted like a chicken. The referee announced Wang Qiang as the winner for this round, and Lin Han was happy his friend did great out there by not only winning the match, but also winning the heart of the approaching lady. The pink-head girl came to tell Wang Qiang he might feel hurt in a moment, and when Wang Qiang thought he would manage it fine, he suddenly started hallucinating as he fell down on the floor. The healer apologized and told him that the magic she used only nullifies the damage caused to body for some time, and later it would come back double. She now focused on properly healing him, while Lin Han felt like he would be a third wheel here, so he left those two by themselves, even if he could have healed Wang Qiang himself. 1 hour later, Lin Han faced his second round against a bunch of 3 other people in Battle Royale. This time, the opponents knew he was strong and didn't underestimate him. They already came with a plan to gang up to defeat him, while Lin Han couldn't ask for more as he preferred it to be this way. Right after the match began, the magic archer started chanting magic right away, but Lin Han wasn't fazed by it at all, knowing that arrows won't mean much against him. The archer was confident and she still unleashed a bunch of arrows at him. Lin Han figured he could easily evade those arrows with his speed, but suddenly he felt a resistance and couldn't move his body from there. He happened to be bound by the other person with binding magic, the bind construction, and he gave his all to keep Lin Han in place as the arrows landed on him. The three opponents were sweating as they were yet to see if their strategy worked, but to their surprise, Lin Han was unharmed and smiling as he pulled the blinds. The guy was astounded as he saw Lin Han break his binds with brute force. Then Lin Han teased these binds were not that sturdy to keep him bound against his wish. However, those arrows were quite nasty. He got a bit triggered by them. The magic archer questioned how he was still unscathed, and the other two couldn't help but ask who this guy was. Now it was Lin Han's turn to attack, but right after he charged at them, he stumbled into an invisible barrier. Lin Han found himself caged in this invisible magic barrier casted by the third guy with the face mask. The masked guy quickly ordered the other two to attack Lin Han, and the other guy took out his magic serpent's whip while the magic archer prepared more arrows. Lin Han punched the invisible barrier lightly, in response to which the masked guy told him not to waste his time trying to escape. But suddenly, he was taken aback by the cracks forming up in the barrier, and Lin Han simply repeated his punches while holding back and broke out of the barrier easily. Now he asked where they were, and the other two opponents unleashed their arrows and serpent's whip at Lin Han at the same time. Lin Han wasn't afraid of either of them, since he caught both of them with bare hands. The audience was puzzled by this sight, and some girls even started giving out their numbers for Lin Han to call. Lin Han praised the teamwork of his opponents. However, even before he said anything, they knew they were no match for him because they got defeated without even making Lin Han use his abilities. They called him a freak, and Lin Han alerted them, stating he could hold grudges if he wanted. Those three forfeited at the same time from the match and ran away to not be caught up in anger of Lin Han. Lin Han can't tell why they were in a hurry, but anyways he went to check Wan Qiang. He found Wan Qiang here defeated by somebody, and he was being healed by the healer lady. Wan Qiang told him that he didn't even see how he lost that match. Lin Han assured him it was fine, since even if he lost the match, he won the war because the healer lady, Yun Yun, came to his aid here. Wan Qiang got flustered upon hearing that, and he mentioned the person who defeated him was called Yuanzi, and apparently she was somehow different from other candidates. Lin Han ensured there was nothing to worry about as he was here to avenge his friend. Later in the third match, Lin Han won with an overwhelming difference in strength, and the same was the result for the fourth match as well, advancing him to the finals. In the finals, he finally faced Yuan Sai, who defeated Wan Qiang before. He seemed to be here for fun and remarked that there doesn't seem like any good contender in this city, especially after his support managed to advance to the finals. Lin Han figured he wasn't from this city, so he asked her where he was from, but in response he told him to mind his business and show if he was really capable of finals. Yuan Sai turned into a chaotic form as he chanted assassin magic skills which covered the entire arena in fog. Lin Han figured it wouldn't be a problem for him, and suddenly a hand with a blade attacked right where Lin Han was standing. Lin Han barely dodged that surprise attack, and now he had to dodge more attacks coming from this mist. However, he got a plan in mind and smiled before punching at a pinpoint location in the mist, and it landed right on the assassin Yuan Sai. He questioned him how did he know her location, to which Lin Han replied it wasn't that difficult to figure out because he would have to materialize before attacking him. Yuan Sai acknowledged Lin Han's combat skills, but he was still confident he was no match for him. Lin Han smiled and teased to see if she would say the same after another punch from him. The assassin challenged him to try beating her ultimate trick, where he became two, and he would have to fight both of them at once. He constantly attacked him from both sides, and when Lin Han tried to perceive it, he felt both of these bodies sharing the same aura. He laughed as it seemed like his strategy was working when he landed a hit on Lin Han, but he was confident it wouldn't be enough to defeat him. He caught both of the assassins with his hands at once, and the speed at which he did it left her shocked, wondering how a mere sacrificer could keep up with his movements. Lin Han stated the difference of strength between them was too big, after which the assassin was about to surrender. But Lin Han didn't let him finish speaking and smacked both of them onto the ground. He warned Yuan Sai to watch his mouth before opening next time as he walked to the center. The referee announced Lin Han's victory for this match as well, which makes him the champion of this whole competition. The host of this competition congratulated Lin Han on becoming top scholar of their city and offered his reward, in which Lin Han actually won a villa for himself. The host informed him that along with villa, he would also get skill books and a bonus also, and assured that the government will surely support students like Lin Han who always strive to become stronger. The other students who participated in this competition fawned over Lin Han's prize, and with this, the host concluded this whole competition and asked mentors from all the universities to come and scout the students, or students could choose to apply for the universities they like. Mentors came out with first being Yancy from King University, Wan Licheng from Liam University, Lai Chang from Sheming University, along with other mentors from the rest of the universities as well. After some time, Wang Qiang told Lin Han that he got scouted by the Jian University. Then he asked what about him. Lin Han replied it was impressive that he got into a good university, but unfortunately, Lin Han received no invitations from anyone so far. Wang Qiang was shocked to hear that because it was very uncommon for him not to get any invitations, especially when Lin Han was the champion of this year's exam. Lin Han mentioned that mentors thought Lin Han was a person who skipped magic training and just focused on increasing his physical skills, so they decided to wait on him for next year's exams. Wang Qiang could see the point since Lin Han never used magic in this tournament, hearing that Lin Han punched Wang Qiang out of frustration and just decided not to attend any university for now since he already received his rewards and was free of his own. Meanwhile, Minister Sun Hu from Lunar Magic Detection welcomed the Master Linton. Linton mentioned having sensing traces of forbidden spells in the area, but he can't think of why and how because all the Saint-level experts who could cast high-level spells were not in the city currently, and he doubted any foreign Supreme Masters to be involved, so they had no way of finding out where this mysterious person came from. Around the same time, Lin Han just finished shifting to his new villa with his family, and while having dinner, he saw the news of Master of Lunar Magic Detection, Linton, arriving in their city. Lin Han coughed in the middle of eating after hearing this news, and his mother asked him to eat slowly. At the same time, he got a call from manager Liu, and Liu mentioned he got some information on the source of the catastrophe that Lin Han wanted. Lin Han was excited after hearing that and asked where it was, to which Liu replied that the next catastrophe would be an earthquake, and it will occur in Yamyang City. Lin Han asked for the exact address immediately, and Liu asked if he should prepare some equipment for him. Lin Han responded that it wouldn't be necessary, and instead he would bring in more items to sell to Liu. Liu liked the sound of it and admired Lin Han for always being the top-notch customer he trusts. Lin Han was happy here, as he couldn't wait to head over to the Yamyang City as soon as possible. Manager Liu, on the other hand, was enjoying his drink, while thinking that he couldn't get a read on Lin Han exactly no matter how he tries to figure it out. It was then Liu received a call from Tian and asked if he was having some trouble with the training ground. Tian was pissed off as he wanted to know the reason why Liu gave the teleportation device array to Lin Han. Manager Liu replied it wasn't bad for him to make a small investment where he sees an opportunity. Tian disliked this investment as he believed that even if Lin Han got some potential, he was nowhere near the value of that teleportation array. Liu spoke from his experience and vaguely conveyed to Tian that the potential of Lin Han was beyond what he and Tian could fathom, and he won't speak anything else except asking Tian to stop investigating Lin Han. Tian decided to trust Liu's guts this time and hung up the call. Tian can't help but wonder just where did this Lin Han come from. Next day, in the dungeons of Yamyang City, Lin Han followed the map and arrived in the diamond forest, which shines just like diamonds under sunlight. Suddenly, he heard a voice shouting for help, and when he followed the voice, Lin Han saw a girl running away from the monster. She didn't want to be eaten by the strong monster and requested aid from Lin Han to defeat this gold-level boss monster. Lin Han thought that finding a silver-level boss on the outskirts of Diamond Forest was absurdly bad luck. The girl asked him to help instead of just standing there. Then she thought that he might have been too scared to move. She started taunting the monster and attracted its attention only to herself, leading Lin Han to realize she was thinking of others even in danger. Although he liked this part of hers, and when the monster was to hit her with a sharp tongue, she closed her eyes, seeing no way out of this now. But then she opened her eyes and saw that she was safe, and Lin Han had blocked the monster's sharp attack with his hands. She told him to watch out while Lin Han just started slamming that monster around on ground and throwed it far into the forest. The girl was enchanted by this incredible save and asked him if she could join his party after seeing him defeating a gold-level boss that easily. Lin Han didn't want to take her along because he was here to enter a catastrophe, so he just pointed out he didn't even know her name. She introduced herself as Wang Ting, a transformation mage, and her passionate eyes made it hard for Lin Han to turn her down, especially after she risked her life for him. He remarked her ability was surely rare and impressive, but she didn't think it was that special. She asked him his name, but Lin Han was reluctant to tell her his real name because it might bring more trouble. So he told her his name is Wang Qian from Yaguang City. Wang Ting told him he was really powerful at such a young age, making her ask how he trained. She also wanted to hang out with him when she visits, and Lin Han was getting bored already by her talkative nature. He wondered what to say here and pointed out that his age was actually much older than she thought. Wang Ting seemed to be only getting more interested in him, then he changed the topic and asked why she came here. She replied having come here to try her luck and get some mage equipment, since equipment was really expensive out in the market. And now that she got an expert like him, she hoped she could stride confidently now. Lin Han found her to be quite straightforward, and he decided to look after her for a while. However, suddenly he sensed something and told Wang Ting her luck seems to be really bad. He said so because, ever since he met her, only more troubles were happening one after another. This time, another gold-level boss monster Bloodthirst Gorilla showed up, and Lin Han pointed out to her that a powerful monster like that wasn't that easy to find here on the outskirts. He asked her to stay behind while he took care of it, and thus Lin Han entered into another clash against the Bloodthirst Gorilla. He matched the power of Gorilla's fists with head-on punches. Then to his surprise, Wang Ting was frightened as she alerted more monsters were coming up. Lin Han spotted another powerful monster boss, and this time it was a powerful pack of crimson-eyed wolves, which won't be that easy to deal with just his physical strength. On top of that, Wang Ting clung to him crying that she didn't want to die here. Lin Han told her to stop the death talk as it would take a whole lot more than these monsters to kill him. Lin Han became serious as he crushed the gorilla's hand with his bare fingers, then lifted it and threw the whole gorilla in the sky. Then he punched it from the sky and sent it straight at the place where crimson-eyed wolves were ambushing. Lin Han kept all the monsters at bay with his immense strength and landed safely. He asked Wang Ting how that instant kill of monsters was just now, to which she replied that she became his fan after that action. Now Lin Han felt like this diamond forest was a bit abnormal because ever since he came here, so many strong monsters have been ambushing on the outskirts. He wondered if the impending catastrophe was causing the monsters to run out, which means he might be able to accelerate the catastrophe with his forbidden spell. However, he needed to send Wang Ting away somehow. Wang Ting, on the other hand, remarked she wasn't afraid of any boss as long as she was with Wang Qiang, since he could handle it all. Lin Han then bombed her with the news that she was on her own from here. Wang Ting was caught off guard by that. Then Lin Han explained he felt a powerful creature inside the diamond forest with a strength that wasn't inferior to his own, so he suspected the real battle was coming. Wang Ting asked what she should do in that case, to which he simply asked her to leave and she would be fine. Wang Ting was afraid of monsters on the way back, and Lin Han guaranteed he'll make sure it won't happen. He then held her by shoulders and threw her out of the forest with magic. Wang Ting went flying and fell onto the ground with a powerful impact, but surprisingly she didn't feel any damage because Lin Han had used a spell on her. She wondered what spell it was, while Lin Han was now free to cast his forbidden spell. He went to the center of the diamond forest, where the lake was located, and there he casted the forbidden spell Chaos Domain. And just like that, the whole forest was instantly under the rain of meteors, visible to Wang Ting, who was very much further from the forest. She was scared and knew that was no way a common spell, while the meteors kept falling down throughout the diamond forest and wreaking havoc. The ground then soon splitted and cracks formed even in the lake of the forest. Lin Han doubted if he did too much, but anyways to him it was more important to locate the source of the catastrophe. Meanwhile, at the magic detection department, everyone was in chaos after sending another use of a forbidden spell in the vicinity of the city. The supervisor immediately called for Sir Linton, and at the same time, Linton arrived at the monitoring room to check on the situation. The supervisor told him that based on information, the source was located in the diamond forest. Linton didn't expect to encounter such an extraordinary situation so soon, and the supervisor asked what steps they should take. Linton commanded they must locate the position of this person using forbidden spells, and asked to bring the tracking system along as well. They immediately took action on the orders, and while everyone was onto their duties, Linton was kind of getting a feeling he might have taken a burden by taking responsibility for this task. Meanwhile, in the broken-down lake of Diamond Forest, which was all dried up now, Lin Han finally managed to find the source of the catastrophe, but suddenly he sensed so many strong auras around the whole area. He used his skills to learn that the Magic Detection Division was already here, and they were immediately activating all the barriers to find him no matter what. Lin Han understood the teleportation device wouldn't work once the barriers were up, so he quickly activated the teleportation device, hoping it would just work ASAP. At the same time, the detection division was using all the trackers to scan the forest for any humans, and they soon spotted one person's presence in the northwest. But before they could take any action, they saw a large teleportation light coming from that direction, which left the supervisor and Linton with disgust, because they knew this meant they lost that person again. Linton was shocked to see a portable teleportation device being used because no average person could have it. After this incident, the next morning, Lin Han was casually brushing teeth at home when he got a call from manager Liu. Lin Han picked up the phone and Liu asked him what happened yesterday with a shock. Lin Han asked what was the big deal, and Liu told him that an earthquake occurred in the Yanyan city yesterday, and rumors have spread about the appearance of a mysterious master. Liu was worried that Lin Han had been calling to check up on him constantly. Lin Han smiled and said even if there was an earthquake there, he hadn't visited that place yet, so he asked what happened to the source of the disaster. Liu was glad he was okay and told Lin Han that he would contact him as quickly as possible after having the information on the source of the natural disaster. Lin Han realized this fox-like manager Liu wanted to trick him, but that was no problem now after he evaded the questions smartly, and now that he has the source of the natural disaster, Lin Han figured it was about time to change his job again. Meanwhile, Manager Liu has done his investigation and found much information like the appearance of mysterious warrior, having heard of Wang Qiang being there, and lastly the use of a portable teleportation device, all of which only confirms to him that it was definitely Lin Han. Later in the job change hall, the receptionist welcomed Lin Han with a smile, and he straight up told her that he was here to advance to the third job. She mentioned it had only been half a month since he advanced to the second job, which means he managed to find information about sources of natural disasters within this short period of time. Lin Han confirmed and stated it was nothing for him. Everyone who heard him thought Lin Han was truly a monster for leaving up and collecting resources so quickly. They knew Lin Han might be the first priest to advance to the third advancement, which means going above level 20. The receptionist called him awesome and asked to put his hand on the machine to be assigned to his next job. Lin Han placed his hand on the machine, and this time he received yet another S-rank quest to go to the Iron Forest and obtain the Heart of the Guardian. Lin Han thought this system was definitely giving him tough jobs on purpose, as if it doesn't want him to live, but anyways, he now would have to visit this Iron Forest that he hadn't even heard of before. Putting his thought aside, Lin Han accepted the job, and the receptionist informed him that the deadline of this job was the day after tomorrow. She wished him a safe journey, and from there, Lin Han visited the trading guild next. He sat down with Liu and said he came here with some business because he needed some stuff for his third quest. Liu congratulated Lin Han for becoming the world's first triple-turned priest, and then it came to his mind that a priest would require 3 sources of natural disasters for third transformation, and right when there was an earthquake the previous day, Lin Han today received a third advancement quest, which was definitely not a coincidence. Lin Han knew Manager Liu had connected all the dots, so in that case he decided to pretend to be mysterious. Lin Han then lied that his master risked his life to bring him the source of disaster, and he felt nothing but grateful to his master for helping someone like him. Liu's perspective changed completely, and he wondered just how strong was this mysterious master to be able to produce natural disasters at will. He prioritized making a good relationship with his apprentice Lin Han and his master, so he mentioned to Lin Han that he had a treasure and wanted to see if Lin Han could use it. Liu went and brought a piece of cloth, which was a disguise veil, a gold-level item that changes the face of the user at will, but it had side effects if worn for long. Lin Han was interested in it right away and asked how much it cost. Liu figured that since Lin Han was their old customer, he would sell it to him for 4 million. Lin Han bid 2 million for it, and they started negotiating the price, leading Liu to make the final offer at 3 million. They closed the deal for 3 million, and Liu accepted this deal because in exchange for these 3 million, he got the kindness of a master with unlimited potential. Liu was happy to receive this item, and later on he used his system to augment the veil by 10,000 times. The veil immediately transformed into a legendary grade mask, which allowed the user to completely transform to any person he imagined, and he could also use abilities that person has to disguise perfectly. Lin Han was feeling great because with this, he would be able to pretend his master role, and that way it won't be easy for higher-ups to find out his identity. Lin Han decided to test this power right away, and he tried by copying Gao Chong and thought of pretending to be him when he headed out to the Iron Forest. That way, no one will know it was Lin Han, and it would work out perfectly. Next day, Lin Han stalked Gao Chong to see where he was headed off to, planning something that would make sure his plans go smoothly. After that, Lin Han followed Gao Chong as one of his friends Liang, and he acted all chummy to get Gao Chong to have drinks together since it had been long after they met. He offered the drinks on his tab and acted all close as he got Gao Chong to a bar. After some time, Lin Han finished his plan and removed the mask after he made Gao Chong sleep deeply by mixing in a powerful sleeping pill in his drinks. Now Lin Han changed to Liang again and took Gao Chong to a hotel and told the attendant to let his friends sleep in one of the VIP rooms and make sure he sleeps as long as he wishes to without being disturbed. Once Lin Han took care of Gao Chong, he headed to the back alley and transformed again into Gao Chong. He was confident now that nobody would find him out, so he didn't waste any time and headed right off to the Iron Forest. Upon arriving there, a strong dude approached him and asked if he would like to party up together. Lin Han, disguised as Gao Chong, asked the uncle for his name, and the man replied sadly he was only 27 and he was deeply hurt upon being looked as old. Lin Han felt guilty and greeted the man as Gao Chong, an assassin, and asked him what his job was. The man became interested again and introduced himself as Wang Qiang, a level 30 guardian knight, and he also had 2 other party members to join them later. Soon, the other 2 party members arrived, and one of them turned out to be the referee from the entrance exam competition. Lin Han still remembered her from back then, and the referee recognized Gao Chong and introduced herself as Go Gong. Soon, other party members also arrived, and among them, there was also Wang Ting, the unlucky girl Lin Han met in the Diamond Forest. Lin Han looked over at the party members as they introduced themselves in a flashy way, except for Wang Ting, who looked somewhat a little professional. Lin Han had a hunch that he might be in some real trouble this time. Hua Kaiyan then announced they would get started with exploring the Iron Forest, and they teleported inside the dungeon. Upon arriving inside the dungeon Iron Forest, Hua Kaiyan was so excited in exploring that he basically announced their arrival with a loud voice. Go Gong told him to keep his voice down and notice how this place was awfully quiet right now. Hua Kaiyan told her it would be fine as long as they don't run into a boss monster. She tried to keep him on guard, but he was overconfident, and soon they ran into a steel tiger, seeing which Hua Kaiyan thought it wouldn't be difficult. However, Go Gong was sharp and alerted they were in trouble, because there were more than one steel tiger here. The steel tigers ambushed them at once, and Hua Kaiyan prepared his sword to face them head-on. He used the shield to block the left side and asked Go Gong to handle the right. Go Gong told the rest to take care of themselves because she couldn't afford to hold back while protecting them. She sprinted through the steel tigers and killed them one by one, while Wang Ting looked at cool moves of Go Gong. Lin Han, disguised as Gao Chong, figured these steel tigers won't be able to break through as long as they got 2 level 30 masters, but the difficulty suddenly went up when the Steel Tiger King appeared. Hua Kaiyan got serious now because this monster was a gold-level boss monster and shouldn't be in these parts of the forest. Lin Han glanced at Wang Ting and thought, why does he always run into gold-level boss monsters whenever this girl was around? Hua Kaiyan engaged into a fight with that Steel Tiger King, and no wonder he was a very powerful beast that he won't be able to hold off for long. He suggested everyone to split up and run, or they would all die here. Everyone followed the command and split up around the forest to retreat. Lin Han headed to a quiet place and decided to try transforming into the mysterious master of his imagination. He transformed into an old sage kind of looking man and figured it was time for their old geezer to shine and save some kids. Meanwhile, Hua Kaiyan and Go Gong were sweating after fighting off strong monsters one after another while running away. Suddenly, she sensed something and told Hua Kaiyan to watch out, after which he immediately stepped away from the tree he was resting on. A fierce attack came from that direction, and it happened to be from another monster boss, a Shadow Wolf boss. Hua Kaiyan didn't expect to meet such a rare monster, and he decided to challenge himself, trying to defeat it himself as he threw away the shield at it. The Shadow Wolf boss dodged it, and just then Go Gong sneaked behind it because she wanted to kill this monster herself. She landed the finishing blow, and the Shadow Wolf boss fell down after losing its life. She stood on top of it while Hua Kaiyan complained she took his target. She told him he was just too slow, and if she hadn't attacked it, would have run away. They had a little argument over this prey. While in the meantime, Lin Han was watching from the tree and thought it would be really nice to have that Shadow Wolf's fur for himself. He jumped down as an old man and questioned those two if they mind him taking the skin and fur of the Shadow Wolf. Hua Kaiyan and Go Gong were both caught off guard as they didn't even notice Lin Han coming so close at all. Hua Kaiyan was the first one to refute, saying they were the ones who risked their lives fighting this beast. Lin Han simply decided to take it by force, and those two weren't the type to stand idle by, so they attacked him. However, Lin Han was too strong for them, and he dunked both of their faces into the ground, then claimed now it surely shouldn't be a problem if he takes it. Hua Kaiyan and Go Gong quickly had a change of mind, and they let Lin Han take the beast. Lin Han figured it was better to use fists like this to sort out things faster, and after that, he went to deeper parts of the forest and sensed some monkey monsters charming at him with sneak attacks through trees and bushes. Lin Han managed to deal with all of them with sheer magical defense, and he was confident they couldn't touch him, while he could defeat them easily. Soon he confronted the forest overlord Three-Eyed Demonic Ape, the boss monster of those monkeys. Lin Han changed some tactics and decided to use some magic in his fists this time. The ape jumped through quick reflexes and dodged Lin Han's punch, after which he got sober up and decided to launch an array of punches. But to his surprise, the ape showed his hand to stop him and begged for mercy. Lin Han wondered what it was doing, and the ape broke off a tree and used it as a weapon to attack Lin Han, trying to catch him off guard. The ape twisted around the tree like a log, and it was Lin Han's first time seeing an ape use weapons. He was open to this fight as the ape charged at him, and Lin Han met the impending tree with a direct punch, fueled with magic power. The ape did his best, but Lin Han simply overpowered him, and the punch broke through the tree and hit the ape. Lin Han knew a gold-level ape won't take more than a direct punch after all. It was then he heard voices of Wang Ting and others planning to regroup with others, and she happened to face the ape that died at Lin Han's hands. They were shocked, thinking how that was possible, and Lin Han simply hid himself behind a tree because he knew nothing good will ever happen if one meets that girl. Wang Ting and the other two subordinates observed the body of the ape and saw fist marks, which remained Wang Ting of the master Wang Qiang she met in the Diamond Forest, which was basically Lin Han. It was then Wang Qian and Gao Gong regrouped with them and asked if they had seen Gao Chang. Wang Ting replied no and wondered if he got eaten by some monster. Lin Han felt really not so grateful for that consideration, and anyway, he decided to head deeper into the forest to finish his mission. After traveling a bit further in, he finally got rid of those guys, but now the challenge was to find the heart of the guardian of the forest. Lin Han looked around and finally confronted the forest guardian, the platinum-level boss, and this fight might be a little trickier than others. The forest guard attacked him with tentacles, and Lin Han jumped around, dodging them one by one. He knew the only way to get close to this monster was to get through these tentacles, so he purposefully let it hold his limbs to let his guard down. But actually, Lin Han tightened up his muscles once he got close and freed himself off. The forest guardian sensed the danger and increased the number of tentacles attacking Lin Han, and surprisingly, a large part of the forest started running wild around him. Lin Han realized this platinum-level boss was capable of controlling other monsters, which was pretty expected of the boss of the Iron Forest. He was enjoying this fight, but around this forest, the master Linton happened to be nearby, and he sensed something great inside the forest. He asked others to quickly follow him as he entered the forest. Lin Han here sensed that Linton was approaching this place, and if he got caught, he would be in trouble, so he didn't get much time here. Lin Han decided to skip the fun and end this in an instant, so he didn't waste any time and casted the forbidden spell Chaos Domain. A giant magic circle appeared in the sky and rained down ice spears on the whole area. Wang Qian and Gao Gong sensed the immensely powerful forbidden spell nearby, and Wang Ting recalled it was the same as before. Lin Han was keeping an eye for everyone, and before he protected them, they were shielded by the magic barrier casted by Linton. He was glad to have made it in time and asked them if they had seen any mysterious master around here. The two extras replied they just saw the whole forest going to chaos, and a battle suddenly started on a level of 2 masters. Wang Ting, on the other hand, told the Grandmaster Linton that their friend Gao Chang was missing. Linton quickly sprinted from there to look further into the forest himself, and others were amazed by his speed. Meanwhile, Lin Han was finished with his mission as he defeated all the monsters and even collected the heart of the forest guardian. He knew Grandmaster Linton was coming soon, so he quickly had to figure out a way to get out of here. It was then he got an idea, and Lin Han called the trading company and asked if they would like to buy a treasure of Forest Guardian's heart. Liu accepted the deal and said he would come to pick it up himself. And Han was pretending to be a stranger, so he informed Liu that he'll place the heart of Guardian Forest in the trunk of the tree on the left side of the forest outside city, and in return, he demanded Liu to leave the cash there. Liu accepted the conditions and promised to deliver the cash on time. Lin Han planned on buying the Forest Guardian's heart from Liu later on, so that way he won't seem so suspicious. And now, as for Linton, who was approaching here, he had another plan. When Linton arrived at the site, he saw many monsters were frozen around the place, and after following the trail of destruction, he happened to see a giant crater, which seemed to be the result of a large-scale magic attack. Then Linton saw Gao Chang frozen in the ice and quickly used his magic to break it. Gao Chang, disguised as Lin Han, pretended to be shivering. Cold after that, Linton asked him if he was Gao Chang, and he asked surprised if he knew him. Linton mentioned his teammates were worried about him and proceeded to ask in case if he saw anyone here just now. Lin Han pretended to be weak after a cold and said the moment he arrived in this area, he was hit by a white light and didn't know what happened afterwards. Linton just told him to go back to his teammates, while inside he was wondering how come this kid survived after being hit by that forbidden spell. Later on, they returned to others, and Wang Qian was happy to see Gao Chang back. Lin Han pretended she was safe thanks to them, and he hoped to team up with them again. Now they left the forest and parted on their ways, while Wang Ting asked the extras to come as well. They replied they would be right there sometime, and in reality, those two guys turned out to be from the monitoring division, and Linton ordered them to follow Gao Chang because he was suspicious. After that, those guys started stalking Lin Han disguised as Gao Chang, and Lin Han wanted them to follow him intentionally. When he was done with them, he used faster walking tricks to lose them, and the guy was startled as he just lost a kid whom he was supposed to follow no matter what. Next morning, Lin Han woke up in his room as usual, and he looked outside with the Eye of God skill to check stalkers around the area one after another. And just like he expected, there were experts from the detection division who seemed to be suspecting everyone related to Gao Chang and Wang Qian. But Lin Han was confident he wouldn't give anything away. He brushed normally and got a call from manager Liu. Lin Han picked up the call, and Liu told him that they received a Forest Guardian's heart yesterday, which was exactly what he needed to change jobs. He asked him when he could come over to take a look at it. Lin Han replied he would be there right away and headed straight out of the house in a happy way. The guy from the monitoring division asked the boss if there was really something wrong to suspect about Lin Han, to which their boss replied that this Lin Han apparently was the champion of the exam and yet wasn't in any university, so it was strange and he wanted his men to follow him. Later on, Lin Han met with Liu for the Forest Guardian's heart, and manager Liu welcomed him with a smile. The stalkers saw Lin Han entering the trading guild, and unfortunately, they didn't have the authority to search the trading guild. They wonder how an ordinary student like Lin Han is so familiar with manager Liu. Meanwhile, Lin Han confirmed the heart of the Forest Guardian and thanked manager Liu for his hard work. Lin Han mentioned his master gave him some items to be appraised by Liu, so he brought out a blood-slaughter sword and a battle armor of legendary grade. Liu's eyes sparkled as he wondered just who the hell was Lin Han's master, to be able to have such legendary grade items. Lin Han stated these two legendary equipment were nothing for his master, but he was the kind of guy to avoid too much attention. Liu got the hint and promised he'll never disclose the identity of the seller for these items. Lin Han thanked him for cooperation, then mentioned there seems to be some annoying people outside. Liu understood what he meant, and outside the VIP room, the stalkers from the monitoring division were trying to enter but got stopped by the guards. The supervisor questioned guards how an ordinary person like Lin Han was considered a distinguished VIP, which demands for a search. It was then manager Liu came out and said he was the one who decides who's VIP and who's not, so he asked the troublemakers to get out of here. Lin Han waved bye to those two and bid farewell to manager Liu as well, mentioning he would go back home now. However, one of the stalkers noticed Lin Han heading the way of the job transfer hall. He found it odd because Lin Han just got one change recently. Later at the job change hall, the receptionist welcomed Lin Han and asked how come he visited again so soon. Lin Han told her that he got lucky and got the job transfer item from trade. Receptionist booked his transfer slot right away, and Lin Han soon entered the chamber and got upgraded to 3rd advancement. This time the process hurt Lin Han for some reason, since this process contained absorbing the source of natural disasters as well. Lin Han realized once the process ended that maybe the few priests who managed to get the items must not have withstood the source of natural disasters. Now he wanted to see how strong he had become after a job change right away. Lin Han opened the stats and saw his profession had been upgraded to holy priest from just priest, and all of his stats were in the tens of millions, crossing the humanly possible boundaries by extremes. He also gained 2 more forbidden spells, Thunder God Domain and Wind God Domain. Lin Han realized these new spells were basically the power he got from the source of natural disasters he obtained, and now he could control those elements. Meanwhile, the announcement screen in the center of the hall acted weirdly, and everyone thought it broke. Then the screen announced Lin Han becoming a holy priest after the 3rd advancement, and everyone was shocked because there has never been a case for a priest to make it through so far. One of them wondered if this 3rd advancement priest would be powerful. Then a guy slapped him from the back and questioned just what he learned at school, because the priests were required to obtain the source of natural disasters to upgrade. Thus, there has never been a priest who made it to the 3rd advancement, which means Lin Han was one of a kind. Some of the people recognized that Lin Han was the same student who topped the exam this year, and apparently it was widely known that he was so good at everything, making ladies a fan of him and wanting to marry a guy like him. Then Lin Han exited the upgrade chamber and asked everyone what they were looking at. Everyone started running towards Lin Han to get his autograph, and Lin Han didn't know he would be in a situation like this. The news of Lin Han's 3rd advancement became well known throughout the country, and people started gathering outside his house. Lin Han didn't know how to handle this attention and wanted to leave the house covered in hood. His mother asked if he was planning to rob a bank, to which Lin Han replied why would he need to rob a bank in the first place. He asked parents to not tell anyone about him being here, after which he just left through the window. But when he got down, Lin Han saw a girl with a ladder near the wall. It immediately spread throughout the people when Lin Han jumped out the window, and they started chasing him like crazy. Lin Han's parents felt teary as they saw their child being treated like a celebrity. On the other hand, Lin Han didn't expect it would be this tiring to handle fans, and either way, he wanted to make his way to the auction house. Lin Han soon arrived at the Huyu auction house, and at the gate he saw Gao Chong with his friends. He asked them what they were doing out here, but Gao Chong just told him not to get so full of himself just because he was a little famous now and he could come to such a high-end auction. He mocked a country bumpkin like him who doesn't belong here. But just then, one of the workers greeted Lin Han as Sir, and asked him to come inside without having to wait like others. Gao Chong was taken aback as he saw Lin Han casually entering the auction house early, receiving treatment like a VIP. Gao Chong's friends asked him if Lin Han wasn't from an average family after all, but Gao Chong didn't care about that and walked off after punching him. Gao Chong doubted if Lin Han had a secret identity, while Lin Han was taken to his VIP seat by manager Liu. Lin Han asked Liu to get a dark cloak as he didn't want to be recognized by anyone. Liu complied with his requests and said he deposited 100 million in his card as down payment for those 2 legendary items before. Now the girl host of the auction started the event and brought out the first item, Steel Wrist Guards, a gold level item. She explained the bid will start from 1 million and will be added by 100,000 every bid. She began the auction and people started bidding one after another. Lin Han was surprised to see that the steel wrist guard was this popular and the items sold for 2.3 million at the end of bidding. Liu knew these items might be nothing to Lin Han's interest, but he let him know that there were 5 more VIPs who might be after items that Lin Han might want. Lin Han asked if those other 5 were some important people, to which Liu responded they were from the 5 prestigious families, the Ma family, Li family, Chen family, the Wang family, and the Gong Sun family. All of these families had influence over the world and they were rich enough to rival a country. But he assured Lin Han these families follow their rules in this auction, so he doesn't have to worry. Lin Han claimed if anything picks his eye, he will surely not let it go. Later on, the host announced the main item of this auction, which was the pass to the ruin number 3, which was the most advanced remains of its kind in this world. And apparently these ruins only open once every 30 years, and each time they do, one requires a specific pass to enter. She mentioned there were only 100 passes of these ruins left in the world, and only those with diamond level and above, under 30 years of age, could enter. She started the bid with 10 millions, and it didn't take long for the bidding for this pass to cross 50 millions. Lin Han could see this pass was worth every penny, and when Liu asked if he was interested, Lin Han replied with bidding on this starting right off with 80 million. One of the 5 families, Ma family's 4th son, Ma Tansing, told his sister to join this bidding, and they bid 100 millions for it. He wanted his family's face to rise with this rare artifact and enter this rare ruin. Manager Liu informed Lin Han that 2 brothers and sisters were Tansing and Shansing from the Ma family. Liu suggested Lin Han if he wanted to make friends with the Ma family, it wasn't a bad idea to give this one bid up. Lin Han was clear this is an auction and only the one with the highest price would win. Lin Han was ready to even sell all his silver and gold equipment to win this auction, since the opponents were the rich big families. Lin Han raised the bid to 150 million, and Tansing asked if Lin Han was sure about breaking any chances of friendship with them. He raised it to 180 million, and in response, Lin Han made it clear he doesn't have any need for 5 families, as he raised the bid to 200 million. Ma Tansing warned Lin Han that he'll remember his face now, and the 200 million bid was too much to be overbid by everyone, so the item got sold to Lin Han. Manager Liu pointed out Lin Han wasn't even keeping a low profile here, and if he didn't back down from this, the whole country would know about it tomorrow. Lin Han was stern about the highest bidder winning an auction naturally, even though he wanted to keep his identity hidden. Liu knew the Ma family wouldn't be so generous, but he assured Lin Han that he would do his best to keep Lin Han's identity a secret, and even if someone comes to investigate later, they would only hear that Lin Han was a mystery member. However, Liu requested Lin Han it would be really good if he could bring at least pieces of legendary gray like last time. Lin Han said he wasn't some wholesaler and 5 pieces were too many, in response to which Liu asked for 2 pieces at least. Lin Han joined hands to close the deal like it was nothing, after which Liu decided to not go so easy next time, since Lin Han's master seems to be extremely rich with both money and legendary equipment. Now Lin Han looked at the auction in which the last items to be brought out were the legendary grade items sold by Lin Han before. So Lin Han and Liu just went inside to enjoy some tea, and the host informed Liu that those legendary pieces sold for 6.35 billion yen. Lin Han was shocked and he calculated that even after a 20% commission fee cut, he would still be a millionaire. Liu assured he would send money right away to Lin Han's bank account, and Lin Han was actually worried because now he was not only an enemy of the Ma family, but he also got such a large sum of money with him. Manager Liu guaranteed him that nobody will be able to touch Lin Han, because his auction house will provide security to him for 3 days. Lin Han took his words and left the auction house to head home, but he was right away met with the people from the family. Lin Han questioned how they found him, to which Tansing replied his men had already surrounded the auction house from every angle, so he had been looking for Lin Han. Lin Han declared no matter what he wouldn't give him the pass for ruin number 3. Tansing offered to buy that pass for another 100 million than what Lin Han bought it for, and the fact that they were willing to pay this much made the value of that pass clear to Lin Han. Then Tansing spoke up to Lin Han that she meant no harm, and they would even be willing to share the ruins. Then Tansing shouted at Lin Han if he would give it or not. Tansing told him to calm down, and Lin Han told Tansing to learn something from his sister, as she was at least a good talker. However, he still made it clear he would never go back on his decisions, so he told them if they wanted it, they could come and get it themselves. Tansing didn't waste any second and commanded everyone to attack Lin Han, and they all ambushed him at once. However, all of a sudden, everybody who charged at Lin Han was beaten up by punches that came out like a wind. Then a female appeared and warned them to try again if they could. She was a beautiful lady in a pink outfit, and Lin Han understood she was the security the auction house gave her. Chang Xing recognized her and asked if she was the assassin queen senior Fei Hua. Fei Hua didn't like to be seen as older, and she warned Tang Xing not to forget the rules of the auction house. The customers were not allowed to sell the bought items for 3 days, but Xiang Xing quickly stepped forward to apologize to Fei Hua for the violation and said they'll retreat right away. Lin Han noticed Xiang Xing was quite good at adapting to the situation as she retreated when needed. Now he greeted the security girl and said they should go now. She asked him to go where Lin Han told her since the auction house asked her to protect him for 3 days, she should take care of the people that Lin Han was sensing nearby. She also noticed there were really some suspicious guys, but she didn't feel the need to do anything because those guys haven't done anything yet and she wasn't paid to do that. Lin Han asked how much it would cost to hire her to take action once. She responded after calculating it would be about 2 million. Lin Han just gave her 2 millions and told her to take care of those guys there. Fei Hua accepted the request and took care of those guys right away. Lin Han approved that she was truly befitting of the title of Assassin Queen, and within a few minutes she took care of all the suspicious guys who were stalking Lin Han in a 10 miles radius. She asked him if he would like to expand the search scope for 1.6 millions. Lin Han asked her if she was short on money or something. She replied with a sad expression that it was just that everything was just too expensive these days, from upgrade materials to clothes, bags, and even the toys, leading her to shortage of money. Lin Han felt a little weird after listening to her big problems, and he decided to hire her as his personal bodyguard for 500 millions a month. Fei Hua immediately changed her expression to please and said money was second priority and the first would be to protect Lin Han. She said in a weird way that from today she was his. After days passed, Lin Han was sleeping peacefully at night, while the monitoring division supervisor and his assistant were still keeping eyes on Lin Han constantly. They had been observing Lin Han for some days, but Lin Han did nothing suspicious. Supervisor told them to keep their eyes on him, and suddenly everyone's expression turned pale as they looked at something behind the supervisor. Supervisor asked why they were staring at him, while a shadow emerged behind the supervisor. One of the guys told him there was something behind him, and this mysterious shadow caught the supervisor and told him this was just a warning, and if they still keep surveillance on Lin Han, they would regret doing it. The guys from the monitoring division quickly accepted the terms and ran away from there. This shadow turned out to be Fei Hua, and she was making sure her boss Lin Han's sleep wasn't disturbed. Next morning, Lin Han woke up normally, and suddenly he got flustered when Fei Hua was standing right next to him. He asked her why she was in his room, to which she replied that she was just wondering who Lin Han messed with, because some guys are hanging around his villa even at night, and she took care of them so she couldn't sleep. Lin Han was worried if she killed any of those government guys, and she assured not to worry, as she was very careful about what she does. She asked him if he would like to deepen their cooperation, after which Lin Han asked her how deep was she talking about. Fei Hua asked him, why don't we just pay for the whole year at once at a discount of 2 months, totaling to 5 billions. Lin Han told her to at least have some sense of decency as Queen of Assassins, but she refuted that one can't make money with morals alone. Later at the training grounds, Lin Han went there and told Fei Hua he was meeting a friend for a quick dungeon raid. Soon, Lin Han saw the person he was waiting for, and it turned out to be Wang Qiang, who was happy after meeting Lin Han, and he also brought the healer Yunyan. Lin Han asked how far he progressed, to which both of them replied they were just friends. Lin Han didn't like their response as he could see they both were lying, and Wang Qiang asked him who was the girl beside him in that case. Lin Han replied she was just his cousin, and Fei Hua acted all sad and said he was just calling her sweetie yesterday and today she was a cousin suddenly. She asked if he was trying to get rid of her, and Wang Qiang just called him a good player. Lin Han told Fei Hua to stop this and introduce herself for real, after which she introduced herself with a fake name, Jiang Ruixin, an assassin. Lin Han didn't expect her to change her name so quickly, and that aside, it was about time for them to head into the dungeon now. Everyone prepared themselves for heading into the dungeon, and Lin Han asked if they would be okay, because they would have to show their ID to enter, and Fei Hua used a fake name. She told him it would be fine because she has an identical twin sister with the name Jiang Ruixin, so she would be using her identity. And just like she said, it actually worked, and they were about to be teleported into the dungeon soon. Then they came across one of their old classmates, Yuan Sai, and Lin Han told him it was nice to meet him. However, Yuan Sai didn't want to be teamed up with this monster, referring to Lin Han, but the dungeon entrance assigner scolded him they can't change it now. After that, they teleported into the dungeon, and Wang Qiang didn't expect this place to look so similar to the place they went last time. Lin Han nodded he's right and warned him it was dangerous here. Wang Qiang wanted to relive the moment when they fought the hidden boss last time, and they proceeded further to explore this dungeon. However, after they went into the dungeon, they came across many minotaurs, which was supposed to be a rare boss monster, but now it was spawning like a common monster. Yuan Sai was fighting off the Minotaur with his claws, but they weren't that effective, so Yuan Sai planned on hiding in a safe place. Wang Qiang told him there would be more dangerous monsters out there, so it would be much safer to stay near Lin Han, but Yuan Sai ran away. Lin Han, on the other hand, was fighting Minotaurs with simple magic attacks, and he didn't want to let Yuan Sai get hurt, so he decided to go and find him. Wang Qiang got worried about what they would do if Lin Han leaves, and Fei Hua asked them with a scary face if they thought she was useless. Wang Qiang felt the pressure and said it might be too much for her to handle so many Minotaurs at once. Fei Hua defeated a Minotaur with no difficulty at all and showed him it was easy for her. She mentioned she might not be that efficient because she hadn't battled for long, but Wang Qiang was now starting to fear her after that. Lin Han left Wang Qiang and Yunyan to Fei Hua, and she asked him for extra money for protecting others. Lin Han agreed in a rush and went ahead to find Yuan Sai. Meanwhile, Yuan Sai was struggling as he ended up being surrounded by Minotaurs, and he got into a situation he couldn't run away from. He felt like he might die here today. Then Lin Han came and asked if he needed any help. Yuan Sai rejected his help, as he would rather die than beg for help, especially from Lin Han. Yuan Sai was having a tough time defending from Minotaur's attacks, and Lin Han was commenting on his footstep being a little unrefined. Yuan Sai ended up being thrown off while blocking Minotaur's attacks, and when he started bleeding, he asked Lin Han if the option of help was still up. Lin Han made it clear he would have to beg for help if he wanted it, and as the Minotaur was about to attack Yuan Sai, he ended up begging Lin Han to save him. Yuan Sai thought it might be too late, but Lin Han was confident it was fine as he reached just in time and deflected the Minotaur's attack. Yuan Sai sighed after finally being saved, but then he noticed they were surrounded from all angles by many Minotaurs. Lin Han asked him if he forgot his nickname already, and Yuan Sai mentioned he still remembers Lin Han being called a violent priest. Lin Han chuckled as Yuan Sai still remembered it. He promised Yuan Sai he would break out of this for sure, but first he needed Yuan Sai to move away from here, so he threw him away, making Yuan Sai scream a threat to Lin Han. Later on, Lin Han defeated Minotaurs by himself, and he also caught Yuan Sai just in time before falling. Lin Han asked him how come he was so weak to vomit just from that, and Yuan Sai pulled his collar, asking him to try being thrown next. Lin Han casually asked how much experience did he gain, to which Yuan Sai replied he got enough to change jobs soon after he gets out thanks to Lin Han. Then they saw huge explosions in the distance, and Lin Han asked Yuan Sai to follow him as the need to check out there. Around the same time, the Minotaurs had their weapons slashed by Wang Qiang's card magic. He was getting used to fighting them now. Then Yunyan pinched him and said he don't need to be so happy, because Fei Hua was the one to handle most of the monsters. Just then, Fei Hua warned both not to take it lightly, as she felt something wasn't right here. Yun even asked what was wrong, and Fei Hua said the Minotaurs just now were acting like they lost their minds, which didn't seem quite right. After that, they suddenly sensed a powerful ground-splitting attack coming from ahead, and it shook the place around them. The source of this attack was a Minotaur, which seemed pretty different and significantly stronger from the previous Minotaurs they faced. It was a platinum-level boss monster, Minotaur Lord, and fighting him would definitely not be easy. Wang Qiang and Yunyan were terrified as they never expected to face a platinum-level monster out here. Fei Hua was keeping her calm while thinking that she might have to use up her strongest moves and risk her life to defeat this one. At the same time, Lin Han and Yuan Sai joined the battle, and Lin Han hoped he wasn't too late for the fight. The Minotaur Lord got up from the seat, and only then Yuan Sai noticed it was a platinum-level boss monster and doubted if he would regret coming here. Lin Han told him it was too late now, as the Minotaur Lord attacked them at once with his sword. The Minotaur Lord's sword shattered the ground, while Lin Han and others dodged it in time and got out of its trajectory. Where the dust settled down, the Minotaur Lord suddenly disappeared, and Wang Qiang couldn't see it at all. Fei Hua then alerted them to be careful, and suddenly the ground beneath Wang Qiang started breaking as the Minotaur launched an attack from the ground on him. Wang Qiang suffered a direct hit and went flying in the sky, and Yunyan also suffered some damage from the impact of the Minotaur's next slash. The Minotaur defeated Wang Qiang and Yunyan in a single moment. Wang Qiang was unable to get up, so he requested Yunyan to run while he held that monster here. Yunyan didn't want to leave him behind, while the Minotaur wasn't going to wait for them and kill whoever was nearby first. But just when it hailed down its sword, the Minotaur's sword met with Lin Han's protective barrier. Lin Han saved those two and told them to stop this drama and just get away if they were hurt. Yuan Sai carried both Wang Qiang and Yunyan to get them away from here, because he knew they would only hold Lin Han back. Wang Qiang agreed with that and left this platinum boss to Lin Han. Lin Han was blocking the Minotaur Lord's attacks, so the monster went inside the ground to escape again. Lin Han was pissed off by this. Then Fei Hua mentioned Lin Han seems to be pretty strong to be unscathed even after facing a platinum boss monster. Lin Han told her she should be the one to do her job of protecting instead of him. Fei Hua assured she would do the task as long as she was paid for, and she told him to just see while she handles the rest. Lin Han took a seat to enjoy the show of power of his Supreme Master rank bodyguard. The Minotaur Lord emerged from the ground and attacked Fei Hua, and she didn't feel the need to move until the very last moment and jumped right before her to let the Minotaur hang. She used her assassin skills to create a mirage of multiple bodies, and one by one, she inflicted multiple slaves on the boss monster. She then defeated the Minotaur Lord by herself with her killing move, Flying Blossom Slash, causing the dangerous monster to fall down on the ground as a corpse. Fei Hua asked Lin Han if he got his money's worth, and Lin Han was pretty satisfied with her service, and he acknowledged she was really deserving of her nickname Queen of Assassins. Meanwhile, Yuan Sai was wondering why haven't they been hearing any fighting sounds now, as if Lin Han got killed by that Minotaur. Wang Qiang exclaimed at him for even saying that, then suddenly they saw a magic circle showing up just beneath them, which was a sign that they finished this dungeon. They were all teleported right back to the dungeon square, and the announcement screen showed that Lin Han and his team had completed a hidden mission. After they were back, the dungeon in charge, Tian, called Lin Han a young hero for clearing that dungeon and invited him over for dinner. Lin Han called him out for sending them there intentionally, but Tian said he didn't do anything to offend him. Lin Han described that even though this was supposed to be a gold-level dungeon, he and his team ran into a platinum-level monster in there. He claimed if only he didn't have any tricks up his sleeve, all of them would have died because of Tian's carelessness. Tian checked Lin Han's dungeon card and he found out that it had been tampered with. Lin Han made it clear this won't be resolved with just an apology, since this involved human lives at stake. Tian asked then what Lin Han wanted him to do, to which Lin Han replied that since Wang Qiang was the most injured one from this incident, he should get to define compensation. Wang Qiang thought for a second and said he would be fine with 2 pieces of gold equipment. Lin Han felt a little bad because of Wang Qiang's low demand, just because he hadn't seen anything good before, and Lin Han wanted him to be more ambitious. The dungeon in charge, Tian, immediately agreed with the compensation asked by Wang Qiang, and he promised to give 3 copies of best-selling scrolls as well. Wang Qiang thanked him and told him to send the stuff to Lin Han's house. Tian was sorry and gave word to deliver it tomorrow, and Lin Han told him to make sure something like this won't happen next time. However, Lin Han had a hunch that Chen might not be behind this after all, so it raised the question of who wanted to harm him. Lin Han wondered if someone from the Ma family used a dungeon to deal with him, but then he got slapped on both cheeks by Fei Hua. Lin Han asked what it was. She responded it was just an effort to cheer up his mood. Lin Han asked her if she thought the dungeon was tampered with by the Ma family. She replied there won't be anyone else who could have done so without leaving a trace, so she doubted it was the case. Lin Ha asked her if she could deal with the Ma family. She bursted in fear because while she was just a supreme master, the family head of Ma family was a 76-year-old man with at least level 76 and a god-level master. Lin Han told her to just be honest and admit she was scared. She reasoned why won't she be scared because there were only 3 god-level masters in the entire country. However, she doubted if the Ma family would really pull off something like this because they had many supreme masters who could have come to deal with Lin Han directly. Lin Han asked if there were many god-level masters in other countries. She replied that there were like 12 god-level masters out there, and they formed a single line of defense to stop even stronger monsters from rampaging. Lin Han was glad to see she was so well informed. Fei Hua told him he was just too young and seen too little of this world to know much. Lin Han teased even if she knows so much, she won't seem to be one of the top supreme masters. After hearing what she apologized for not being one and decided to leave right away. Lin Han stopped her and said his money would be wasted if she leaves now. She stopped and asked something she had in mind for some time now. Fei Hua asked Lin Han that if he could send a platinum monster flying, just what was his combat power actually. Lin Han told her it was his secret and denied to answer it. Fei Hua became curious and requested him with a cute face to tell her. Lin Han told her not get so close and replied that his true strength would probably be invincible below diamond level. Fei Hua was enchanted to hear that and praised him for being so strong at such a young age. However, Lin Han actually kept from telling his real strength as he was invincible at supreme level in reality, but he didn't want to disclose it. Now she asked him if he could heal a supreme master's wounds as a 3rd advancement priest, to which he replied that he never really tried healing anyone before, but he thought it was possible. In reality, Lin Han could even bring back a person from the dead with his forbidden spell. Fei Hua decided to come to him if she ever gets hurt then, and it made Lin Han think as if he was her exclusive priest. Now Fei Hua asked him where they would be staying the night. Lin Han muttered he would obviously go back home, and she should come with him as well. Fei Hua gave an overreaction over his words and started giggling while fantasizing. Lin Han wondered what she was thinking about, then out of nowhere, she told him she wouldn't sell her body while performing her duty. Lin Han told her not to think too much, and he ended up going back home with Fei Hua after all. Upon his return, he asked mother if the food was ready, while Fei Hua, on the other hand, directly greeted Lin Han's mother and father as uncle and auntie. Lin Han's parents thought their son had finally grown up, and they told him to exercise moderation. Lin Han told them it was not what they think, and he asked Fei Hua to explain it. But he saw she wasn't standing beside him, but already talking to his parents, saying she would be heading to the room to rest, and went away. Father asked Lin Han if they were having fun, leaving him with many questions to answer them. Later in the middle of the night, Lin Han suddenly woke up and saw Fei Hua sleeping right next to him. He asked her why she was in his bed. She just mumbled good morning and slept again. Lin Han asked her why she wasn't in her bed and what happened in the night. Fei Hua replied nothing happened, which put Lin Han's heart to relief. Then she mentioned she just slept here when she came to give the items delivered by the dungeon in charge. Lin Han asked how come she got her guard so low as an assassin. She assured him she would wake up right away when there's trouble. She gave him 3 tickets which contained the items, and he gave one of them to her. She asked him why he was giving it to her. He replied it was just to help her level up since she just became a supreme master recently. Fei Hua didn't get why he was so nice to her. He just muttered this was to make her stronger, since the stronger she will be, the better she could protect him. She held his hand with happiness, then at the same time his mother came to tell about the breakfast. Lin Han got startled and tried to explain to mother, but she just said she would make some chicken soup for nourishment and left. Fei Hua asked if he wanted her to explain it to auntie. He claimed he would do it himself, as the more she explained, the more confusing it'll get. Now, she mentioned she would have to stop by the trading guild to report to Manager Liu, and out of curiosity, she asked him if he knew Manager Liu well. Lin Han mentioned they did business a few times, and they know each other pretty well. He asked what was up, then Fei Hua told him that Manager Liu was said to have a pretty complicated background, and as far as she knows, the person in charge of the trading guild was also named Liu. Lin Han wondered if Manager Liu was related to the owner of the guild. Then she added that since the interviews for the top 5 universities were coming soon, she asked him if he plans on entering a prestigious college and studying hard. Lin Han thought about how much trouble he was getting himself in these days and thought that he should get admission into a university to avoid any more suspicions. Later at the admission center, Lin Han saw there were quite many people here for the interview. Some guys came and informed Lin Han that he didn't have to go to the general section, and he would be given a chance instead to choose his mentors and university himself. Lin Han liked the idea and followed them to the B block admission building, where Lin Han was taken to the room with all the mentors of universities. However, Lin Han could feel the atmosphere was too heavy for some reason. Then a guy with a beard stood up and asked Lin Han, the world's first third advancement priest, to join their academy, and they will make sure to train him well and make him the strongest priest out there. The old man in the other chair said why would Lin Han need training when he was already the strongest priest, and asked him to join their Juwan University instead, as they would take care of all the natural disaster sources he needed. The blue-haired man said Lin Han's potential would be wasted in other colleges and asked him to join his college instead. Others started taking their turns from Sheming University to even Kingyun University, which was an all-girls university. Lin Han was feeling strange as he thought these guys didn't like him before at the time of entrance exams, and now they were recruiting him actively. Then another guy told him to join their Chanqi University, where each student relies on their own strength to obtain resources, and if Lin Han wanted to obtain the source of a natural disaster, he could only come out on top in their university's various competitions and get them as a prize. But he promised that only if Lin Han could guarantee that he would always come in the first place, which would require him to be confident enough to say yes. Others were feeling odd after hearing that, and they questioned how he could say that because never ever before had anyone other than Fei Hua achieved all the first places in Chanqi University. Lin Han learned just now that Fei Hua also studied in Chanqi University, which means she was quite good at hiding even after she made quite a name for herself. Then the blue-haired guy asked if Lin Han wanted natural disaster sources to advance to 4th level. They would even be willing to help him create man-made disasters. Lin Han asked if that was really possible at all, while inside he knew he had caused them twice himself. The blue-haired man replied that as long as the scope of disasters was controlled, the man-made disasters do not cause much damage and also provide the sources. The professor of Chankai said that offer was nothing compared to his, but the blue-haired man wanted to make an offer anyway since it was up to Lin Han to pick. Now Lin Han thanked everyone for speaking their minds and said that he already made his choice as well. Lin Han declared he decided to choose the Qingqi University, and the professor from Qingqi assured them they won't let him down. He gave an admission form to Lin Han and told him to report to the university in 3 months. Later, Lin Han went back and met with Fei Hua. He mentioned she finished her business with Liu pretty quickly. She mentioned she must have wanted to come early to see which university he picked. Lin Han mentioned that the university which produced the youngest Supreme Master picked his eyes, and it was said that during her time she set many first-class records and Lin Han wanted to challenge her. Fei Hua found all of it familiar to hear, and she realized that he chose Qingqi University, the same place where she graduated from. She didn't expect her legends were still circulating in the academy. Lin Han mentioned it was just a coincidence, while Fei Hua told him that she would be his senior from now on, so he should call her senior. Lin Han didn't see anything that looked like a senior about her. Then suddenly he sensed something and mentioned to her that someone seemed to be following them. He asked her to identify them, and Fei Hua saw through all the suspicious people around them, and there seemed to be 3 groups of people. She confirmed they were definitely from the Ma family, and Lin Han hated. They just won't let him go. He left this one to her to handle, and she claimed to take care of them in 30 seconds. One day, one of the men from Ma family greeted their young master Tangxing and informed him that all the 3 groups were wiped out like nothing, and they don't have enough manpower to deal with Lin Han, so it was better to retreat. Tangxing exclaimed they can't retreat, and now they were in a situation as his sister about locked in for losing the pass, and he can't afford to lose it no matter what for her sake. The guy mentioned their opponent's strength was beyond their imagination, and even Supreme Master Fei Hua has been hired by Lin Han. Tangxing became serious and figured he had no choice but to invite someone right now. He went to a house and called out his uncle Zhang and told him that his sister had been placed under house arrest, and it was so important for him to achieve that ruined pass that he had to come and ask Zhang for help. The door opened, and Zhang asked Tangxing to let him see the target. Tangxing provided a single strand of hair that belonged to Lin Han, and used magic to show him what he looked like through it. Suddenly, Lin Han woke up from his sleep and felt something off. Fei Hua also felt it, and Lin Han understood it was the Ma family again, and they just won't stop being so stubborn. Tangxing asked him what was he plot number to do now, because she sensed a powerful aura coming from the border of the city, which amounted to at least a Supreme Master. Lin Han figured if he kept hiding, his identity would be exposed sooner or later, and that would put his family in danger. So he decided to take the initiative right away. She asked him if he was crazy, because that opponent now was a Supreme Master. Lin Han asked if she was also a Supreme Master, and besides, the opponent had already set the battlefield for him, so he couldn't spoil the fun by running away. After some time, Lin Han arrived at the border of the city, the Wastelands, where Tangxing sensed something approaching him with the intent to kill. Then someone blocked her sword and pointed out they were surely so skilled at shadow killing despite being so young. It was an old man, and he made Fei Hua retreat a few steps. She asked the man who he was, while Lin Han greeted Tangxing and told him that he surely did great finding him with the help of putting something of Lin Han in that compass. Tangxing cut to the chase and told him to keep giving the ruined pass, and this would all be settled. Lin Han didn't yield to his warning, in which case Tangxing was ready to finish off both Lin Han and his security right here as he called out Uncle Zhang to get him. Zhang was currently toying around with Fei Hua, and she was giving her best to face him, but Zhang didn't put much effort and crushed her sword like it was nothing. His attack landed on her and sent her flying all the way back. Lin Han caught her in time and teased how come she got defeated in just 1 second. She exclaimed her opponent wasn't a pushover this time, and judging by the weapon, that old man could only be one person, the 3-blade sword master Zhang Xifeng, a veteran Supreme Master. Zhang was pleased to be recognized just by his power, and he told them now that they know him, they should hand over the ruin number 3 fragment, and they would be free to go. Otherwise, they would have to leave their life behind. Fei Hua laughed and claimed she was too careless before, but that won't happen now. She refused to go down that easily and attacked Zhang again with her assassin skills. She covered Zhang with shadows and declared she would go all out right off the bat. However, when she stabbed the sword into the shadows that were trapping Zhang, Tangxing asked Uncle to be careful, and Zhang pushed her back with just his aura. Fei Hua then surrounded herself with fire magic, and Zhang realized that she was planning to strike with a dagger. Lin Han was about to help Fei Hua, but Tangxing stopped his path and declared he would be his opponent. Lin Han was extremely mad, so he just decided to settle this once and for all right here. Tangxing then activated his skill and summoned his armor and sword, as he declared that he was a platinum level 40 knight and he was just 1 step away from diamond. He claimed to be planning from an early age to enter these ruins, and he went as far as to keep from leveling up because these ruins allowed only under diamond people. But that was ruined for him by Lin Han. So he charged at him to take out his anger for coming in his way and hand over the ruined pass before he died. However, Tangxing was caught off guard when he saw Lin Han stopped his advance by blocking his sword with just 1 finger. Lin Han called him a frog in the well and told him how he could even claim to be invincible below diamond level with this level of skills. He decided to show him what it means to be invincible and hit off the sword away from Tangxing's hands to the ground. Next, Lin Han sprinted at Tangxing with the intent to kill and hit him with a series of punches all over the armor. Shang Tsung could do nothing but see his armor chipping off after being hit by Lin Han repeatedly. He landed on the ground with a shattered impact on the ground and started foaming at the mouth. Lin Han was unscathed as he stood there until Shang Tsung woke up. Shang Tsung told him not to come any closer out of fear, and Lin Han told him to give him that compass and he will let him live. Otherwise, he'll make sure even his family won't be able to protect him. Shang Tsung claimed it was just a bluff because he's still got plenty of armors and Lin Han surely won't be able to break all of them. Lin Han punched him, only to be blocked by a shield that appeared out of nowhere. Shang Tsung told Lin Han not to waste his efforts because this shield was a supreme-level treasure. Lin Han was pissed as he saw the power of many of the family to allow just a platinum-ranked knight to carry a treasure of defense. Lin Han figured since Shang Tsung wasn't wearing armor, the shield must come out only in death threat. Shang Tsung told him that once his uncle Zhang comes after defeating ManhwaWe, he'll be dead for sure. Lin Han figured these shields surely had too much defense power, so there was only one way to break it. Lin Han transformed all of a sudden with a veil mask and activated the forbidden spell that nullifies any magic nearby to deactivate the shield. Shang Tsung questioned just what was going on, then he saw an old master standing right where Lin Han was. He questioned Shang Tsung if it was him who forced his disciple Lin Han to summon him, and in reality he was Lin Han himself disguised as an old man. Shang Tsung felt the aura of the old man was that of the Supreme Master, and he questioned just where did Lin Han go. Lin Han stated since the family have revealed all their cards and going after his disciple's life, he naturally had to come to take care of this. Lin Han activated a powerful spell and Shang Tsung quickly requested the old man to leave his name and the family would pay for any damages. Lin Han knew Shang Tsung was trying to get his name, then hired his family head to kill him. Lin Han activated the Chaos Domain and purple lightning formed in the sky, and it fell wherever Lin Han wanted it to. Lin Han pointed it all on Shang Tsung and a purple thunder fell on him, shattering the ground in the process. Meanwhile, at the Magic Detection Center, the workers found another strong magic energy wave coming abnormally. Boss Sun Hu suspected it was that forbidden spell being used again, making him wonder just why these powerful people even stayed here in Huyu City. Sun Hu asked Master Linton what they should do now, while Linton sensed that the forbidden spell this time was much stronger than last time. It made him wonder if it was the same person from before, and it seemed that two or more supreme beings had gathered here in the city and were facing each other. So he ordered for the city to be put to a first-degree alert and evacuate any people nearby the dangerous areas. Sun Hu was worried about making it there in time before the effects of the forbidden spell spread too far into the main city. Meanwhile, ManhwaWe was still fighting against Zhang and unleashed her last move Flying Flower Slash, which created a mirage of multiple ManhwaWe attacking Zhang. Zhang fended off her attacks with some effort and he received a few cuts while blocking it. ManhwaWe knew even if she caused some damage, she might not be able to defeat Zhang. Zhang told her if only he hadn't been injured in his last adventure, he would have become a holy knight by now, but regardless, she was no match for him even now. She doubted if he still got a trump card up his sleeve, and Zhang replied that in the long time he stayed as a supreme master, he had perfected a forbidden spell of his own. Zhang started casting his forbidden spell of his own, and ManhwaWe could feel a terrifying sword energy from him, which could seriously kill her. Just then, Zhang noticed Shang Tsung was in danger. He sensed an immense aura like a forbidden-level spell. He called ManhwaWe lucky that he needed to leave right away, and she sighed as her life was not in danger anymore. However, she was concerned if Lin Han was safe. Meanwhile, Lin Han attacked Shang Tsung's shield with a forbidden spell, and just one hit shattered the whole defense like it was nothing. Shang Tsung couldn't believe his eyes as the strength of this spell was just inhumane. Then some red chains emerged from the ground and chained Shang Tsung, and the one behind it was also Lin Han. He asked Shang Tsung if he would kindly feel honored to die under his spell. Shang Tsung didn't understand just how this old sage's attacks work, to which Lin Han replied that the very essence of his chaos domain was to attack the enemy until death. Shang Tsung was afraid he'd die today as the lightning approached him. Then 3 magic swords appeared and blocked Lin Han's attack just in time, resulting in a shaky recoil causing tremors on the ground. Zhang declared he would teach this old man a lesson with his most powerful spell, and when Lin Han saw Zhang here, he was worried if ManhwaWe was defeated by him. Shang Tsung told his uncle to not hold back against this guy because he wanted to kill his nephew. Zhang guaranteed he won't let anyone touch a single strand of his hair. Lin Han challenged Zhang to see how long will his 3 blades last under his continuously attacking spell, after which the clash of Lin Han's chaos domain against Zhang's 3 blades began. Zhang was confident that the full power of this technique would surely achieve him a victory here, as he raised the power of his 3 blades to maximum output. The 3 blades looked much larger and refined than before, and Zhang was very proud of his forbidden spell. Soon, ManhwaWe also arrived and asked the old man where did Lin Han go. He replied that his disciple Lin Han was in a safe place, after hearing which, she suggested they should make an escape. However, Lin Han claimed those 3 swords were nothing more than a common spell for him, but in reality, Lin Han wasn't sure how much was the power and experience gap between him and that old man Zhang. He jumped above and declared to Zhang to shatter his forbidden spell if he dared to with his swords. This time, Lin Han summoned a large rock in the sky and threw it on Zhang, while Zhang confronted it with his sword. The clash between these two caused the whole region to fall under chaos, and then 2 of the swords broke down from the overwhelming power of Lin Han's attack. However, Zhang explained that now that his 2 swords were broken, the last one was twice as powerful as before, resulting in no loss on his side. He pushed the sword from the sides and attacked Lin Han from another angle. ManhwaWe told Lin Han to dodge quickly, but Lin Han didn't consider this attack to even be worth actively dodging from. However, he was just kidding, and right now he was waiting for his mana cooldown, since it won't let him cast magic for now. Lin Han relied on the timing, and just before the sword reached him, his cooldown was over, and Lin Han shattered the sword, then casted red binding chains to constrain Zhang in his place. While Zhang was focused on chains, Lin Han told him they were just an appetizer and the main dish was right above him. Zhang looked up and was left shocked by the sight of a deadly guillotine in the sky. He couldn't make sense out of the red sky that followed along, and Lin Han told him this was his ultimate killing forbidden spell, Doomsday Judgment. As the guillotine approached him, Lin Han declared his time was over now. However, the 3-blade master Zhang gave every stamina of his to cut off that guillotine, and he breathed heavily after barely escaping his death. Lin Han figured that their blade surely lived up to his name as expected of a supreme master, and it made him consider using his trump card now. Just then a voice came asking those 2 how they fight while ignoring him, and Zhang recognized this voice belonged to Linton. Zhang and Linton had a reunion after a long time, and Lin Han was a bit worried after seeing both of them being acquaintances. He wondered if he could beat them both by using his trump card. Then Linton shouted he would need both of them to stop this fight, or they would be taken to the imperial prison. Changxing told his uncle they shouldn't fight anymore, but Lin Han was offended and declared it wasn't a joke to just fight when they want and retreat in the middle when they want as well. Lin Han thought if he were to show any weakness here today, then he would be in a lot of trouble in the future, so he can't afford to back down and demand them for a good explanation while charging his other forbidden spells in the sky, visible to everyone present here. Lin Han emitted all of his powerful magic spells, and Linton could feel most of the nearby magic was drained by those forbidden spells, which means he won't be able to fight if needed to. Whereas Lin Han was scared to death because he could only last 3 minutes more with all of these spells activated, so he wished the people on the other side would take some action soon. On the surface, Lin Han declared he could take on all of them together, and his power made it seriously viable to his opponents. Then an outsider arrived and asked why don't they settle this matter calmly. This time, the group of people who arrived here were prominent figures from the 5 great families, and they greeted everyone here. Lin Han felt scared as he would now have to face 6 supreme masters, and the worst-case scenario would be for him to be taken to jail and his identity exposed along with it. Lin Han made it clear that it was the Ma family who forced his disciple to this point, and now he won't settle down until he gets his revenge. Ken Feng, Wang Su, and Lei Chang Kai discussed and said that since the Ma family started this, they should be the one to compensate by never bothering the old man and his disciple again. Changxing knew they were proven guilty here, so he admitted his family was at fault here and requested forgiveness from Lin Han. After he apologized on behalf of the Ma family, everyone requested the old man to forgive them. Lin Han stated he wasn't an unreasonable man, so he canceled his spells. Shield inside, he was glad he managed to scare them off fortunately. Zhang took Changxing and headed off for home, and Cheng Feng asked the old man if he was glad things were settled now. Lin Han stated he doesn't like to socialize, so he was about to leave right away. But Linton called him and requested to stop, after which Lin Han got extremely pissed because he really didn't have a single drop of mana left. Linton politely mentioned there have been a lot of forbidden spells used in the city for some time and asked if he knew anything about it. Lin Han figured Linton must have already been sure about him being the source of them, but he still decided to act mysterious and answer that he just happened to see a supreme mage and a supreme warrior fight some time ago, but since he was a simple man, he didn't pay much attention and left just like he left right now. Linton was very much sure after seeing that wind, lightning, shadow, and space magic of forbidden level used by Lin Han at the same time, and he figured this man was too mysterious and powerful, enough to become a very dangerous problem in the future if he wished to. Later, at Lin Han's house, he returned back home as soon as possible and lay down on bed out of exhaustion. He knew that he must not do this next time and slept just like that. Next day, he woke up to an extremely painful body, and it hurt so much, but it was really necessary. Then Fihua entered without a signal into his room to wish him morning, and Lin Han was so startled he crawled into a blanket and told her to knock first. She asked if he fears that she'll take advantage of him and started teasing him like her usual self. Then Fihua called him out and said she was actually here to say goodbye because a mission suddenly came down from the trading guild, so she won't be able to protect him anymore, and she didn't want to refund the money either. Lin Han told her not to worry about that, and she didn't have to return the money, and he'll be counting on her to protect him next time. Lin Han patted her head and said she must be still injured from the previous battle, so he told her not to work too hard on new missions. Fihua was happy to be treated well. Then she remembered that since Lin Han was going to Changqi University, she wanted him to take care of her sister, Jian Ruixin, for her without telling her that she was the one who asked him to take care of hers. Lin Han wondered why, since they were sisters, and it would be good to tell her that elder sister was worried. Fihua stated she wasn't exactly on good terms and Ruixin had been holding grudges against her. Lin Han didn't pry any further, and her phone rang and Fihua had to leave for work. She told him to take care and left through the window, leaving Lin Han wondering why she never used the doors. 1 month later, it was time for Lin Han to go to university. But when he arrived there, he and other students were creeped out when they first saw the large gate and decorations in the university for freshers. Lin Han suddenly reconsidered dropping out, and then some seniors arrived and said they thought this gate was terrible too at first. But after she heard the speech from the dean, it didn't seem too bad. Lin Han asked what he said in the speech. She said Dean's words were that they would sooner or later become strong one day, and this gate would be their both goal and the starting point. Lin Han thought it sounded good. Then the green-haired girl introduced herself as Feng Yun-sin, and Lin Han introduced himself to her as well. She accompanied him to the admissions hall and asked if everything she heard about him was true, from winning first place in an exam to killing a monster with a punch despite being a priest. Lin Han agreed that was the case, and she felt lucky to have met him at the gate. She offered to guide him all the way to submit his enrollment form, but when they arrived there, a guy saw Young Sin and started flirting with her with a bouquet of flowers. But Young Sin told that guy, Zhang Jianan, to not disturb her right now after hearing Zhang Jianan told her he was just curious about her and asked about this person on her side. She introduced Lin Han, the top scorer in the entrance exam, and she was suddenly handling the admission procedures for him. Zhang Jianan's expression turned pale as if he had heard of Lin Han before, but he didn't care and told Lin Han to get out of his way as he wanted to talk to Young Sin. Lin Han stepped in and said she didn't seem to be wanting to talk to him. Zhang Jianan warned Lin Han that he was currently messing with the only guy in this university who shouldn't be messed with. He passed the bouquet to another guy behind him and told Lin Han that his family does a lot of business with Changqi University, so he shouldn't dare to stop him. Other lackeys of Jianan started mocking how dare a newbie be so naive, and Jianan told him he must have realized the situation now. He offered to let bybones be bybones if only Lin Han decides to join his group. Lin Han told him to cut this crap, and he was open to see what he could do. Lin Han didn't give any warnings and kicked Jianan instantly, sending him flying straight to hit the wall behind. Lin Han said that was pretty pathetic, while Jianan's lackeys quickly called others and carried Jianan out of there. It was then that a female student looking very similar to Fihua arrived at the scene, and her presence seemed to be quite well built around here. One of the lackeys of Jianan asked Jian Ruixin when did she come back, but she scolded him and his gang for messing up things at the day of new students' registration. It was very well known she was sister of the university's all-time topper and graduate Fihua. Lin Han recognized her right away as well and got his enrollment card checked as well. Lin Han introduced himself to Jiang Ruixin and hoped they would get to know each other, but Ruixin told him not to talk to her as she wasn't that free. Lin Han figured she was as arrogant as her sister, so he just ignored her for now and sorted other things out first. After registration, he asked if he could go to his dormitory, and he was allowed to do so while following the locations on map. Later at the student's dormitory, Lin Han arrived at his room and knocked to check if there was anyone. A guy with brown hair opened the door, and Lin Han introduced himself and asked if they would be roommates. But suddenly, the brown-haired guy just closed the door and came back a few seconds later with a notebook and serious stares. He launched his introduction at Lin Han like a missile, saying his name was Tang Xinqi, a silver-level 6 Thunder Mage. He requested Lin Han to sign an autograph on the notebook. Lin Han was surprised to meet a fan, and he told him not to exaggerate things since they were roommates. He asked if other roommates were here as well, to which Tang Xinqi only replied that he was excited to see the world's only triple advancement gold-level priest was his roommate. Lin Han didn't exactly want to be treated like a rare animal. Then another roommate of theirs just arrived and expressed his surprise on seeing his roommate was Lin Han. He got silver hairs just like his silver rank, and he introduced his name, Sun Liangxi, a spear knight. After hearing his name, Tang Xinkai recognized he was the 6th young master of the Gongsun family. Lin Han thought he might be destined to be around these 5 families, where Sun Liangxi wished they'd be good to him for the next 4 years of academy. Then their last roommate arrived, and it turned out to be Yuan Sai. Lin Han quickly wrapped his arm around him and said they would have fun as roommates from now on. Lin Han introduced Yuan Sai as his good friend, after which Sun Liangxi called for a dinner party as they got 2 gold-ranked players as their roommates. Everyone cheered up, and Tang Xinqi was so happy that he cried tears of joy. After that, they headed off to the cafeteria of the university, where the place was much more luxurious than anywhere else, and there were maids with bunny ears. Yuan Sai remarked it was so luxurious that the hotel in his home city couldn't even be compared to just the first floor of this hotel. Sun Liangxi informed them that the cafeteria was the only place where students could spend their money, and the first floor was actually the commoner's dining room. He mentioned the upper floors were even more luxurious, and they even had dishes with direct effects, and the building also had many more services, but they would need points to use there. Lin Han didn't know what points Sun Liangxi explained here at Changqi University. Points were more useful than money, and they could be used to resolve anything. Tang Xinqi was glad to have someone informative with them. Then a waitress came and informed them that their room was prepared. They were taken to the upper floors in one of the private rooms where Lin Han and gang celebrated with drinks and had their first dinner together. Sun Liangxi was hoping to get good grades at the freshman meeting this year since their group was so amazing. Lin Zhen asked if this freshman meeting was like a welcome party. Sun Liangxi replied it wasn't just a welcome party, but more like a battle to determine how to allocate resources within the Changqi University. The more freshers one beats in this battle, the more resources they would receive from the university. It was said if a student defeats 20 students, they would get 10% of the university's resources for a year. Yuan Sai wondered if anyone ever completed this challenge. Sun Liangxi responded there was once a student who not only completed this test, but also won various other achievements and monopolized like 60% of the university's resources. Everyone in that time lived under her shadow for some years until she graduated with her level being Supreme Master at a young age. Lin Han felt like all this sounded too familiar, and it only means Fei Hua was still a legend in Changqi University. Suddenly, they heard a person shouting outside their room, and when Lin Han went to check, he saw Jianan standing there with his lackeys. He mocked Lin Han right away, asking how come he got money to enter here. Lin Han asked if that kick from before wasn't enough for him, or did he like being beaten up. Jianan warned him to watch his tongue and show some respect to his seniors. At the same time, young Xin and her friend arrived and called out Jianan for causing trouble in the cafeteria. She warned everyone if they wanted their points to be deducted. When Jianan saw young Xin, he didn't want to look bad and asked her if she wanted him to drop her home. She replied that she got her own legs to walk and didn't need to be escorted. She scolds him to stop causing trouble for freshmen, and Jianan behaves himself afterwards. He walked away, calling Lin Han lucky to get away again, and Young Xin's friend came and asked him if he was interested in Young Xin. Young Xin told her to stop talking nonsense, and she proceeded to give her number to Lin Han to call her next time if Jianan caused trouble for him again. Lin Han thanked her, while Young Xin's friend said she just wanted some excuse to exchange numbers with her crush. Young Xin got mad and started chasing her away. Yuan Sai came and put his hand on Lin Han's shoulder, saying he surely was quick to win over the heart of a beauty already. He said they were now at odds with each other because of this, but when Lin Han asked if he wanted to try it, Yuan Sai backed off instantly. Lin Han told him they should get out of here soon, while he was sensing some hostility coming from nearby. He didn't think it could be Jianan since he just left, but in any case, others also decided to head back to the dorm. While they were returning home, Lin Han's suspicion seemed to be on the spot as a guy was stalking them. Later in the middle of the night, everyone in Lin Han's dorm was sleeping when a shadow appeared from the window. It was the same stalker, and he entered the room with a sharp dagger in hand. The guy was about to attack Yuan Sai, but then Lin Han caught his hand and asked who he was walking around with such a murderous aura. The stalker got startled and ran off outside the window in a hurry. Lin Han chased him for some time at a fast speed, and both of them ended up heading to the cemetery in the Changqi University. Lin Han almost got the man, but suddenly he vanished, and to Lin Han's surprise, he appeared right behind him. That guy didn't know who Lin Han was, but since he was strong, he decided to fight back. He slashed his dagger around Lin Han, and Lin Han saw the gaps and caught the guy's elbow and made him stab himself. The stalker didn't understand what just happened, to which Lin Han replied it was just a trick he picked up a long time ago. After this, the stalker considered Lin a threat that must be eliminated before he became a great danger. However, the guy prioritized escaping for now and disappeared, leaving a red mist behind. Lin Han saw him escape in a weird way, and a person emerged from the tree behind Lin Han and clapped to praise Lin Han's skill, to see his opponent's weakness and counted it at a glance. Lin Han turned out to be better than he expected, and Lin Han recognized that man was the director of this university, Seu. He asked him how did that assassin get into the university, to which Xu replied that man seemed to have used a special method to avoid detection by university, and now it seems they would have to increase the patrols so it won't happen again. He decided to give Lin Han some points to make up for the trouble. Then he asked Lin Han who was that guy and why do you want to kill him. Lin Han replied he didn't know exactly and mentioned feeling a killing intent nearby ever since afternoon. He guessed it might be a freshman who wanted to kill other competitors. Director Xu got the gist and figured he had a lot to worry about now. He asked him how Fihua was doing, after which Lin Han fell silent and wondered if he was trying to trick him. Director Xu assured he didn't have to be nervous, and he hoped to keep a good interaction with Lin Han since his master was very powerful. Now he asked Lin Han to head back to dorm and sleep because he needs to be prepared for tomorrow's freshman competition. Lin Han was still wondering if Director Xu guessed Fihua being an acquaintance of him, or did the other families have caught up to his identity. But since his master, Rectress himself, was so powerful, they wouldn't be foolish enough to mess with him. Next day at the University Auditorium of University, the seniors welcomed all the freshmen and the speech was about to begin. All the students were exaggerated for this, and the girl announced now the vice principal would say a few words. The vice principal announced to the students that like every year there would be a tournament where they could choose to head a team of either other freshmen, seniors, or veterans. And depending on the strength of each team, the referee would award points to the winners. He declared that to pass the final assessment and defeat 5 diamond-level veterans, they would receive 10% of the university's resources this year. He detailed that their university not only provides basic training, but also advanced training resources, and this right here was a chance for the winner to monopolize some of these resources to show their talents. His speech motivated students to give their best to this freshman competition, and they were ready to compete with each other. Lin Han didn't feel much impressed to see how everyone was ready to compete here, but he figured there must be something more to this too because Fihua was here. Now, without further ado, the vice principal declared the beginning of this competition, and the auditorium's roof opened, revealing the arena was the stage where the vice principal was standing. Now the action began, and the first one to jump to the stage was a senior student named Tianyi. He challenged freshmen to feel free to test out their strengths against him. Lin Han found this quite weird, then Sun Liangxi mentioned that guy seemed to be the right person to start this off. Lin Han asked if he knew that guy. Sun Liangxi replied he just heard that Tianyi was a Vajra warrior by profession, and his profession makes him stronger after every battle he loses. So the only way for that man to get stronger was to get beaten up. A freshman challenged him just now and he was sent flying within a few seconds. Tianyi laughed off and asked if there was really no one up to challenge him. Then Sun Liangxi jumped above and asked Senior Tianyi to let him try a powerful trick in that case. Sun Liangxi attacked him with a lightning punch, but it was easily blocked by Tianyi with his defense skill. Tianyi told him it wasn't strong enough, however, Sun Liangxi was already powerful according to his age and might get a chance later after some training. Then Lin Han joined the stage and asked Tianyi to let him try now. Tianyi told him to not hold back against him, so Lin Han charged magic power in his fist as he throwed a strong jab to Tianyi's defensive skill. Suddenly, Tianyi couldn't hold back that much power and Lin Han ended up breaking through his skill in one go. Students were shocked as they saw Senior Tianyi beaten by a freshman. The referee, vice principal, announced Lin Han's victory and said he would get 10 points for defeating Tianyi's Vajra body. Now he asked who wanted to challenge Lin Han, and this time, Fihua's sister Jiang Ruixin joined the stage to battle against Lin Han. Yuan Sai was very confused and wondered why Fihua was there, since he didn't know Jiang Ruixin was her sister. He noticed it when he realized she was shorter and had different clothes than Fihua. Ruixin felt Yuan Sai's confused eyes and thought her sister was just using her name again to cause trouble. Now she announced she was about to attack Lin Han, and surprisingly, Ruixin also got assassin skills similar to her sister. She formed shadows and ambushed Lin Han from different angles. Lin Han knew he needed to be careful or he might get hurt, and the way she was attacking skillfully was very much expected from Fihua's sister. Lin Han felt like he would have to show some of his real skills in that case, so he closed his eyes and used eyes of truth to see through her attacks. She felt this pressure as well, and Lin Han told her this was his skill that reveals everything around him. He found her through the shadows and throwed a punch in that direction. Lin Han made sure to stop his punch right before it touched Ruixin, because he didn't want to hurt her. She knew it was her defeat and admitted it in front of everyone. She told Lin Han she would win this back from him sooner or later as she left the stage. Referee announced Lin Han's victory, and also that he got 15 points. He asked who else wanted to challenge Lin Han, but students hesitated because they just saw Lin Han beat some really strong people in a row. They didn't want to go against him, so a red-haired female decided to go and fight Lin Han. She shamed others for being scared of a new student, and now she joined the stage to challenge Lin Han. However, at the same time, Janan also jumped onto the stage and said Lin Han was his target and you won't let him make a fool of him like last time." The red-haired girl asked Janin what was he doing as he was interrupting her fight, and Janin claimed to be wanting to teach this junior a lesson himself. Lin Han hopes Zhang Janin won't be embarrassed again with the little skills he has and get printed on the wall like last time. Janin accused Lin Han of launching a sneaky attack last time. Janin asked the other girl, Hong Yun, to use her most powerful technique to strengthen him, and she wished him to not die from carelessness. Yuan Sai asked the vice principal if a 2 versus 1 was allowed like that, to which the vice principal replied there were no rules in this competition, and any number of students will do. Yuan Sai found it absurd, while Hong Yun chanted her strongest fire magic and casted it as a armor on Jianan. Jianan could feel his power being raised by this spell, and with this he was planning to break Lin Han's limbs and make him beg for mercy. He stomped on ground to boost his speed and launched Fire Fist at Lin Han. Lin Han knew that combination fire attack could be a problem, but he got just the right play in mind and casted some healing magic on his hands continuously. He decided to try this tactic on Jianan and was ready to take the attack head-on. Jianan thought he almost attacked Lin Han, but to his surprise, Lin Han just caught his hand and started swimming around him like a tornado. The fire magic from Jianan got released and formed a tornado of fire around them. The vice principal was amused at the sight of Lin Han constantly using healing light on his hands to protect it from burning, while using a little of wind spell to deflect the flames. He could see that Lin Han was quite great at fighting skills, after which Lin Han throwed off Jianan like a rock into the sky. After dealing with him, Lin Han charged at the other opponent and stopped his punch right before it touched her. He told her that since she was a mage, she won't be a match for his physical strength, so it would be better for her to admit defeat. Jianan fell on the ground at the same time, and he was unable to move his body from that much damage. Yuan Se joked Jianan's armor turned out to be a sham product, and soon Jianan mustered up energy to stand up. He left a warning to Lin Han that their family was now at odds against him. Lin Han didn't get why all these losers said the same thing, and then Hong Yun admitted her defeat as well. Students clearly understood Lin Han was a real monster, and he might even break the record of Fihua. Most of them decided to just sit quietly and watch the show. Then Lin Han asked the vice principal that since no one was stepping up now, he would like to go straight to the final round against diamond players. Vice principal didn't expect a new student would take the final test, and he accepted his request and told him as long as he defeated 5 diamond-level veterans, he could get 10% of Chiang-Ki University's resources. Lin Han knew he should be able to defeat them all by ease, but he didn't want to show off too much as it'll get him into trouble. He requested the vice principal to allow him to form a team. Vice principal told him he could form a team of 5 members, and he got 10 minutes to prepare. Vice principal expected a team of 5 students wouldn't be able to defeat a well-coordinated team of diamond level, but he wanted to see how far Lin Han could go. Lin Han then called his brothers to the stage, referring to his roommates, and they didn't expect to be called straight into the final round. They were more than ready to fight even against the odds and joined Lin Han on the stage. However, Sun Liangsai pointed out they need one more teammate, so Lin Han started looking for one from the audience, someone who doesn't drive him down. It was then he saw Wang Ting among the students and learned she also went to the same university as freshmen. He figured her mage profession might make up for their team's shortcomings, so he called her onto the stage. Now Lin Han's team was formed with the people he was closest to in this university, and Wang Ting seemed quite nervous. On the other hand, the veterans of diamond level were sharp, fierce, and confident they would win this one. When the both teams were prepared, the vice principal began the match, and the diamond ones were the first ones to make a move. The sword vanguard attacked first, and Lin Han blocked it with his staff. The swordsman was impressed by such great power, but he wanted to defeat Lin Han to show that he should learn how to respect his seniors. Lin Han commented that armor was very aesthetic, which annoyed the man because a man's armor being called anything other than tough was disrespectful. At the same time, the mage from Diamond Veterans casted a plant magic to trap everyone in Lin Han's team with vines. Wang Ting also got caught up in it, and the mage signaled their captain to make his move now. She followed it up with summoning plant monsters and commanding them to attack opponents. The monsters were about to attack Wang Ting first, and the plant mage was confident nobody could use their full strength while in her traps. Sun Liangsai used his spear to open a way for his teammates, but he was stopped by an assassin from the opponent's team. Whereas Yuan Sai was fighting off the tank from Diamond Veterans, and Tang Xinqi was clashing against another fire mage on the opponent's side. Wang Ting assured everyone they don't have to worry about her, as she could get out of it herself. She spelled Thunderbolt on the plants, which was not effective on them at all. The plant mage laughed, since it was a common-sense lighting was weak against plants. But then Wang Ting casted a fire spell and burned away all the plant monsters rapidly. The plant mage was laughing, so she got caught off guard by Wang Ting's fire spell and learned she was actually a dual-attribute mage.